So guys, today we are going to watch What If Naruto Uzumaki reborn with all of his power and memories. Before starting the video, please make sure you leave a like and subscribe my channel. Now, let's go to the video.
The battlefield lay in ruins, scattered with the broken remains of what was once the Hidden Leaf Village. Uzumaki Naruto, 7th Hokage and savior of the world many times over, could feel his life slipping away. His body, battered beyond recognition, struggled to draw each ragged breath. The final enemy, a being of such cosmic malevolence that it had required the sacrifice of all his precious people to defeat, lay vanquished at last. Blood pooled beneath him as he stared at the crimson sky. The cost had been too high. Hinata, Sakura, Sasuke, Kakashi, Shikamaru, Boruto, Himawari, all gone. Was it worth it? He whispered to the empty battlefield. Within him, Kurama's chakra flickered weakly. Kit, don't waste your breath. You did what no one else could. Naruto closed his eyes, feeling the weight of 70 years pressing down on him. But in the end, I couldn't protect them. Any of them. The air shimmered before him, and Naruto forced his eyes open. A figure materialized, neither man nor woman, neither young nor old, radiating such pure energy that even in his dying state, Naruto felt overwhelmed. Uzumaki Naruto, the being spoke, its voice resonating through reality itself. The thread of your life unravels, yet your work remains unfinished. Naruto coughed, blood speckling his lips. Who? I have been called many names. Kami, the sage, the origin. It matters not. The being moved closer, studying him with eyes that contained galaxies. What matters is that your victory today is hollow. The enemy you defeated was merely a symptom of a greater cosmic calamity, one that will consume not just this world, but all worlds across all dimensions. Then, it was all for nothing, Naruto whispered, grief threatening to consume him. Not necessarily. The being extended a hand, touching Naruto's forehead. Instantly, visions flooded his mind, countless realities crumbling, the fabric of existence unraveling from a point of origin he recognized with horror. The true threat begins earlier than you imagine, with choices made before you were born. This timeline is doomed, but there exists a possibility to create another. Understanding dawned on Naruto's face. You want to send me back. Not your body, but your consciousness, your memories, knowledge, and the blueprint of all you have mastered. You will return to the moment of your creation with the nine tails newly sealed within you. Naruto's eyes widened. I could save them all, prevent everything from happening. But beware, the being cautioned, altering fate carries consequences. The timeline will resist your changes. New threats may arise from your interference, and the true enemy, the cosmic destroyer, will sense your tampering. Naruto's dying body somehow found the strength for a final smile. When have I ever backed down from impossible odds? The divine being inclined its head. Then it is decided. Remember this moment, Naruto, when all was lost. Let it guide your hand when difficult choices must be made. The world began dissolving around him, reality fragmenting into particles of light. Wait, Naruto gasped. How will I know if I'm succeeding? How do I stop the cosmic destroyer? You already possess the key. The being's voice faded as everything turned white. Look for the connections that transcend time itself. Pain erupted through Naruto's consciousness, searing, blinding pain as his adult mind was compressed, folded, and thrust backward through the corridors of time. He screamed but had no voice. He reached out but had no hands. He was everywhere and nowhere, tumbling through the void between moments, and then suddenly he was small, so very small, and helpless and in pain. The first sensation was overwhelming. The burn of foreign chakra coursing through infant pathways. The nine tails sealing, just completed. Around him, chaos reigned. Shouting voices, the smell of blood and smoke, the distant roar of a beast being contained. Naruto's infant body wailed, but his mind, his 70-year-old mind, struggled to comprehend the shock. Every memory, every technique, every life lesson learned across decades crashed into his consciousness at once. It was too much. He couldn't process it. Kurama, he called instinctively into his mindscape. Kurama, are you there? But only rage answered him. Primal, uncontrolled fury of a beast freshly caged. This wasn't his partner. Not yet. Tiny hands flailed uselessly as masked Anbu members appeared above him. He recognized them through the haze of infant vision. So young, so alive. People who would die in wars yet to come. I can save them, Naruto thought desperately, trying to control his infant body's reflexive crying. I can save everyone. Memories assaulted him, Sasuke falling to the curse mark, Gaara's anguish, pain destroying the village, the Fourth Shinobi War, Kaguya, Momoshiki, the Cosmic Destroyer, each one crystal clear despite having never happened in this timeline. The fourth Hokage's legacy, one Anbu murmured, lifting the crying infant. Take him to the secure facility as ordered. Through his tears, infant Naruto caught a glimpse of a face he'd never thought to see again. The third Hokage, Sarutobi Hiruzen, looking down at him with conflicted eyes. Old man, Naruto's mind whispered. You're alive. The shock proved too much. His infant brain couldn't contain the paradox of memories that hadn't happened yet. Darkness claimed him as his consciousness retreated deep within, to the only place where his adult mind could make sense of this impossible situation, the seal where Kurama raged. When he opened his eyes again, he stood in ankle-deep water before massive bars, behind which burned hateful red eyes. You, roared the Nine-Tails, smashing against the cage. Fourth Hokage spawn! I'll devour you! Naruto stood unflinching, his form in the mindscape representing his adult self rather than the infant outside. Hello, partner, he said quietly. The Nine-Tails paused, studying him with suspicious eyes. What trickery is this? You are not the infant. I am, Naruto replied, and I'm not. I've lived a full life already, Kurama. I've returned from a future where you and I became more than friends. We became family. Lies, the beast snarled. No human knows my name. I know more than your name, Naruto said, stepping closer to the bars. I know about your creator, Hagoromo Otsutsuki. I know about your siblings, Shukaku, Maratabi, Isobu, Sangoku, Kokuo, Saiken, Chome, and Juki. I know how you were controlled by Madara Uchiha, then by Obito. I know that deep down, what you truly want isn't destruction, it's understanding. The Nine-Tails stared in stunned silence, his massive form trembling with confusion and lingering rage. Let me show you, Naruto said, extending his hand through the bars. Let me show you everything. Before the fox could react, Naruto pressed his palm against the massive snout, channeling memories directly into the tailed beast's mind. Their battles together, their gradual bond, Kurama's eventual willing sacrifice to save him, their reunion, and finally, their last stand against the Cosmic Destroyer. When he pulled his hand away, the Nine-Tails was utterly still, processing what he'd seen. Impossible, Kurama finally whispered, his voice lacking its previous rage. Yet I sense no deception. We don't have much time, Naruto said urgently. Outside, I'm just an infant. My body can't handle my knowledge or power yet, but with your help, we can prevent the horrors I've lived through. We can save everyone, including the other tailed beasts. Why should I care about humans or even my siblings? Kurama growled, though with less conviction. Because in that future, you did care, and they cared for you. Naruto smiled. You became part of my family, Kurama. You played with my children. You saved countless lives. You found purpose beyond hatred. The great fox stared at him for a long moment, conflict evident in his ancient eyes. The future you showed me ends in destruction regardless, he finally said. Yes, Naruto admitted. But that's why I'm here, why we're here, to create a better path, together from the beginning this time. Kurama lowered his massive head to look Naruto directly in the eyes. What exactly are you proposing, kid? The familiar nickname, spoken without rancor, made Naruto's heart leap with hope. A partnership. Starting now, not years from now. Your chakra, my knowledge. Together, we'll rewrite fate itself. The first 3 years proved the most challenging. Trapped in a body that couldn't speak, couldn't move with purpose, and couldn't channel chakra effectively, Naruto felt like a prisoner. Only in his mindscape could he communicate properly with Kurama, spending subjective years planning while his infant body slept. We need to accelerate your physical development, Kurama said during one such session. Your adult mind is useless if your body can't keep up. I know, Naruto agreed, pacing the now dry floor of his mindscape, which had transformed from a sewer to a comfortable space resembling his old Hokage office. But I can't start training openly yet. The Anbu are still watching me. Then we start inside, Kurama suggested. I can circulate minute amounts of my chakra through your system, not enough to be detected, but enough to strengthen your muscles and chakra pathways faster than normal. By age 3, Naruto could channel basic chakra internally. By 4, he had regained enough motor control to begin secret training in his apartment when no one was watching. By 5, he could create a shadow clone, just one, but it was enough to begin the real work. Perfect, Naruto whispered after successfully creating his first clone in this new timeline. Now we can accelerate everything. Don't get cocky, Kurama warned in his mind. Your body is still developing. Push too hard and you'll damage your chakra network permanently. I've waited 5 years already, Naruto replied, instructing his clone to begin the first of many chakra control exercises while his original body pretended to play with toys whenever the Anbu checked on him. I can be patient a little longer. That night, while his body slept, Naruto and Kurama refined their long-term strategy. We need to prevent key events, Naruto said, creating a mental timeline that hovered in the air of his mindscape. Sasuke's clan massacre, Gaara's isolation, Orochimaru's invasion, Akatsuki's formation, each one builds upon the last. Some events may be beyond your influence for now, Kurama noted. The Uchiha massacre, for instance. You're still a child with no political power. Naruto frowned, considering. Then we need contingencies. If I can't prevent the massacre, I need to be prepared to handle Sasuke differently afterward. Keep him from the path of vengeance. Day by day, month by month, Naruto built his strength in secret. Shadow clone training allowed him to compress years of practice into months. Kurama's carefully regulated chakra strengthened his developing body beyond normal human limits. By age 6, he could maintain 3 shadow clones indefinitely, each one working on different aspects of his training. The third Hokage noticed changes during his occasional visits. You seem different lately, Naruto, Hiruzen observed during one such visit, watching the boy carefully arrange his toys in patterns that, had he recognized them, were actually training diagrams for advanced chakra flow. How so, old man? Naruto asked, maintaining his childish facade while inwardly calculating how much he could reveal. More focused, the Hokage said. The caretakers say you cry less, sleep better, and play more independently than other children your age. Naruto grinned his practiced childish grin. Maybe I'm just awesome. Hiruzen chuckled, but his keen eyes missed nothing. Perhaps you are. After the Hokage left, Kurama spoke within Naruto's mind. He suspects something. Good, Naruto replied mentally. I need him to see me as exceptional, but not impossible. It will make things easier when I need his trust later. At 7, Naruto made his first deliberate intervention in the timeline. Using a transformed shadow clone as distraction, he slipped into the Hyuga compound during the night of Hinata's attempted kidnapping. His small body couldn't confront the Cloud Ninja directly, but he didn't need to. Instead, he left a warning note where Hiyashi Hyuga would find it, then created enough noise to wake the guards earlier than in the original timeline. The result? The kidnapper was captured alive rather than killed, preventing the political crisis that had demanded Hisashi's sacrifice. One small change, Naruto whispered to himself as he watched from a distance. One life saved. You realize you've just altered the timeline significantly, Kurama commented. Neji will grow up with his father now. Good, Naruto said firmly. He deserves that happiness. As Naruto approached academy age, he faced a critical decision. How much of his ability to reveal? After long discussions with Kurama, they settled on a strategy. I'll still be the class clown, Naruto explained. But not the dead last. I'll show just enough skill to be taken seriously, but not enough to raise suspicions. And what about the villagers' hatred? Kurama asked. Naruto's expression hardened momentarily before softening into determination. I'll win them over again, one person at a time, starting with Iruka-sensei, then Tochi and Ayame at Ichiraku. I know exactly how to reach them now. The night before his first academy day, Naruto stood before his mirror, studying his 7-year-old reflection. Behind those child's eyes lay the wisdom and pain of a Hokage who had watched his world end. Tomorrow, he whispered to himself, everything begins again. Uzumaki Naruto? Iruka called, scanning the classroom. Here, Iruka-sensei, Naruto replied with practiced enthusiasm, raising his hand high. While outwardly projecting the image of an excited child, inwardly he fought the urge to embrace the man who had been his first true acknowledge, who in this timeline still regarded him with wary distance. Patience, he reminded himself. Build the relationships properly. The academy provided Naruto with his first real challenge, balancing his need to establish his presence in this timeline against revealing too much of his abilities. After careful consideration, he settled on a performance strategy: excel at physical tasks, where talent could be attributed to stamina and determination, while appearing average in theoretical work despite knowing all the answers. "Your taijutsu form is surprisingly good, Naruto," Iruka noted during their first evaluation. "Have you been practicing on your own?" "A little," Naruto replied with his trademark grin, deliberately leaving a few obvious openings in his stance that concealed the true mastery underneath. "I'm gonna be Hokage someday, so I gotta start training now, right?" Iruka smiled slightly, the first genuine smile Naruto had received from him in this timeline. "Well, that's a good attitude, even if your goal is ambitious." One connection rebuilt, Naruto thought with satisfaction. At night, Naruto's true training began. In a secluded forest clearing outside the village, protected by basic sensory barriers he'd learned from Hinata in his previous life, he pushed his limits with Kurama's guidance. "Shadow Clone Jutsu," he called out, forming 10 perfect clones, the maximum his current chakra network could safely maintain for extended periods. "Better," Kurama acknowledged. "Your control is improving." Each clone took up a different task, one practicing basic Rasengan formation, another working on wind chakra manipulation, others drilling taijutsu sequences from various masters Naruto had learned from in his previous life. His original body sat in meditation, working on the hardest skill of all, adapting sage mode techniques for his underdeveloped chakra network. "It's still too much for this body," Naruto admitted after another failed attempt at gathering natural energy. "I can feel the pathways straining." "You're trying to run before you can walk," Kurama admonished. "Focus on the foundation techniques. Perfect chakra control first, nature transformation second, sage energy last." During his academy years, Naruto methodically rebuilt relationships while carefully observing his future comrades. Shikamaru's strategic mind, Kiba's heightened senses, Hinata's gentle determination, he appreciated them with new eyes, seeing not just who they were, but who they could become. With Sasuke, he took a particularly calculated approach. Rather than challenge him directly as he had in his first life, Naruto maintained a respectful distance, occasionally offering subtle words of support that penetrated the Uchiha's isolation without threatening his pride. "Good spar today," Naruto said casually after they were paired in taijutsu practice, deliberately having shown just enough skill to make Sasuke work for his victory. Sasuke merely grunted, but Naruto caught the momentary flash of acknowledgement in his eyes. Small steps, Naruto reminded himself. The massacre hasn't happened yet. There's still time. But time was the one luxury Naruto couldn't control. Despite his foreknowledge, he couldn't be everywhere at once, couldn't prevent every tragedy. When the Uchiha massacre occurred right on schedule, Naruto felt the failure keenly. "I should have found a way," he agonized in his mindscape that night. "Some events are fixed points," Kurama replied solemnly. Danzo and the elders had been planning this for years. Even the third Hokage couldn't prevent it. "Then I need to be ready for Sasuke's return to the academy," Naruto resolved. "Last time, I was too immature to understand his pain. This time, I'll approach him differently." When Sasuke returned, visibly transformed by grief and hatred, Naruto was prepared. Rather than challenge him or seek attention, he simply placed a wrapped onigiri on the desk beside the last Uchiha during lunch break, then walked away without a word. Sasuke never acknowledged the gesture directly, but Naruto noticed him watching with confused interest afterward. It wasn't friendship, not yet, but it was a beginning. By his final academy year, Naruto had established himself as a mid-tier student with flashes of unexpected brilliance. Good enough to pass, not exceptional enough to draw undue attention. Meanwhile, his shadow clone training had progressed exponentially. In the privacy of his training ground, Naruto demonstrated his true progress to Kurama. "Rasengan!" he called, forming a perfect sphere of spiraling chakra in his palm, smaller than his adult version had been, but flawlessly executed. Next, he channeled wind chakra, creating the beginning structure of a Rasen Shuriken before deliberately allowing it to dissipate before completion. "Still can't maintain it fully, but the framework is there." "Your chakra capacity is nearly Jonin level," Kurama observed with approval, "and your control exceeds most Chunin. You're ready for graduation." Naruto nodded, his young face momentarily showing the determination of his older self. And after graduation, we can finally begin the real changes. The night before the graduation exam, Naruto sat atop the Hokage monument, gazing at the peaceful village that had no idea what future calamities awaited, calamities he was determined to prevent. "I won't fail you this time," he whispered to the stone faces in the sleeping village beyond. "Any of you." The graduation exam approached, presenting Naruto with a strategic dilemma. In his original timeline, his failure and subsequent manipulation by Mizuki had led to learning the Shadow Clone Jutsu, a technique he now mastered far beyond academy level. Should he maintain the timeline and allow Mizuki's betrayal, or change course entirely? After consulting with Kurama, Naruto chose a middle path. "I'll pass the exam this time," he decided, "but ensure Mizuki's treachery is still exposed." During the exam, when asked to perform a basic clone jutsu, Naruto deliberately produced a single perfect clone rather than the 3 requested. "Naruto," Iruka said with disappointment, "the requirement was 3 clones." "Sorry, Iruka-sensei," Naruto replied, scratching his head sheepishly. "I put too much chakra into one instead of spreading it out." After a moment's consideration, Iruka sighed. "It's not perfect, but it's technically a passing performance. You graduate, barely." The slight adjustment worked perfectly. Mizuki, deprived of his easy target, approached another struggling student with his false offer of help. Naruto, anticipating this, left a transformed shadow clone to track Mizuki, then anonymously tipped off the Hokage about the planned scroll theft. Mizuki was captured before causing any harm. The scroll remained secure, and Naruto earned his headband legitimately, a small but significant change to the timeline. Team assignments proceeded as before. Naruto, Sasuke, and Sakura under Kakashi. During their first meeting, Naruto carefully moderated his behavior, showing enthusiasm without the immaturity of his original timeline. When Kakashi asked them to introduce themselves, Naruto's response was measured. "I'm Uzumaki Naruto. I like ramen and people who keep their promises. I dislike those who judge others without knowing them. My hobby is training to get stronger. And my dream," he paused, looking directly at Kakashi with unexpected intensity, "is to protect everyone precious to me and become a Hokage who brings true peace." Kakashi's visible eye widened slightly at the maturity in the statement, but he made no comment. The bell test the following day provided Naruto his first opportunity to showcase strategic thinking without revealing too much power. Rather than charging in blindly as before, he immediately sought out his teammates. "Sasuke, Sakura," he whispered from their hiding spot, "I think this test is about teamwork. No Genin could take on a Jonin alone, but together we might get those bells." Sasuke frowned. "There are only 2 bells. "That's part of the trick," Naruto insisted. "He's trying to divide us, but even if only 2 of us pass, we'll have a better chance working together than separately." Sakura looked skeptical. "Why should we trust your judgment?" Naruto smiled knowingly. "Because Kakashi-sensei hasn't even looked at his book once since we started. He's watching us, waiting to see if we figure it out." The resulting coordinated attack didn't secure the bells, but it impressed Kakashi enough to pass them all, with a bemused comment about Naruto's unexpected insight. As D-rank missions accumulated, Naruto restrained his former impatience, knowing exactly when to push for their first C-rank mission. When the moment came to meet Tazuna, Naruto studied the bridge builder with eyes that had seen his future importance. "We'll protect you with our lives," he said quietly, earning surprised looks from everyone present. On the road to Wave Country, Naruto's senses, enhanced by years of secret training and Kurama's awareness, detected the Demon Brothers long before they attacked. Rather than feign fear as in the original timeline, he subtly signaled Kakashi and positioned himself to protect Tazuna while appearing to simply adjust his pack. When the attack came, Naruto's movements were precise, not Jonin level, but showing the trained reflexes of someone beyond typical Genin abilities. "You've been practicing," Kakashi observed afterward. Naruto shrugged. "I said I wanted to be Hokage. That means I need to take training seriously, right?" The confrontation with Zabuza provided Naruto's first real challenge in restraint. His body remembered the movements needed to counter the master swordsman. His mind knew every technique Zabuza would employ, and Kurama's chakra simmered just beneath the surface, ready for use. "Not yet," he reminded himself as Kakashi was trapped in the water prison. Show initiative but not impossibility. Instead of the chaotic rescue of his first life, Naruto executed a straightforward plan, using shadow clones as distraction, while the real Naruto and Sasuke coordinated a ranged attack that forced Zabuza to release the water prison. During the week of training that followed, Naruto deliberately moderated his tree climbing progress, finishing just ahead of Sasuke rather than mastering it instantly as he could have. "You're improving quickly," Kakashi noted with suspicious approval. "I have good chakra control for some things," Naruto replied honestly, "just not for regular clones." The night before Zabuza's expected return, Naruto slipped away from the house and tracked down Haku in the forest, a meeting he had carefully planned. "You don't have to be just a tool," Naruto said softly after their conversation about precious people. "And Zabuza doesn't have to die tomorrow." Haku's eyes widened. "What do you mean?" "Gato plans to betray you both," Naruto explained. "He never intended to pay Zabuza. He'll bring mercenaries to kill everyone once we've weakened each other." "How could you possibly know this?" Haku asked, tension evident in his posture. Naruto smiled sadly. "Let's just say I have a gift for seeing through deception. If you don't believe me, investigate Gato yourself before the bridge battle." The next day, as Team 7 prepared to escort Tazuna to the bridge, Naruto created a shadow clone to remain behind, knowing Inari would need protection and inspiration when Gato's men arrived. On the mist-covered bridge, events unfolded differently. When Zabuza and Haku appeared, the missing nine's first words were unexpected. "Kakashi," Zabuza called through the mist. "It seems we've both been played for fools." The boy was right. Kakashi tensed. "What are you talking about?" "Your blonde genin somehow knew Gato planned to double-cross me." Zabuza stepped forward, Kubikirabocho resting on his shoulder. "I confirmed it myself last night. The question is, how did he know?" All eyes turned to Naruto, who maintained a carefully neutral expression. "I overheard some of Gato's men in town," he improvised. "They were drunk and talking about how their boss never pays missing nin what he promises." Zabuza studied him with narrowed eyes, clearly not fully convinced but unable to disprove the explanation. "In any case," the swordsman continued, "I'm not here to fight you anymore. My contract is void. But Gato will be coming with his mercenaries, and I wouldn't mind cutting him down." "A temporary alliance, then?" Kakashi suggested cautiously. Zabuza's bandaged face suggested a hidden smile. "Why not? It's been boring just hunting bounties." The battle that followed was nothing like the tragic confrontation of Naruto's first life. When Gato arrived with his mercenaries, he faced not exhausted, wounded shinobi, but the combined might of Team 7, Zabuza, and Haku at full strength. The outcome was never in doubt. Afterward, as they prepared to return to Konoha, Naruto approached Zabuza and Haku privately. "What will you do now?" he asked, though he had already prepared a suggestion. Zabuza shrugged. "Keep moving. Missing nin don't have many options." "What if you did?" Naruto pressed. "What if you could start fresh somewhere, maybe even eventually return to a hidden village?" "Impossible," Zabuza scoffed. "My face is in every bingo book." Naruto smiled. "Things change, especially when you have the right advocate." He handed Zabuza a sealed scroll. "This contains information about a contact in the Land of Spring, formerly the Land of Snow, someone who needs protection and could use shinobi of your caliber." Haku accepted the scroll with curious eyes. "Why would you help us?" Naruto's expression turned momentarily distant, as if seeing ghosts. "Because everyone deserves a second chance at the life they truly want." As the newly completed bridge faded into the distance behind them, Kakashi fell into step beside Naruto. "That was an unusually sophisticated bit of diplomacy for a genin," he observed casually. "Almost as if you knew exactly what to say to Zabuza." Naruto shrugged, his childish grin firmly in place. "I just thought about what I would want if I were him." Kakashi's visible eye crinkled in what might have been a smile or a frown. "You're becoming quite interesting, Naruto. He suspects something," Kurama noted within Naruto's mind. "Good," Naruto replied silently. "I need him curious, not alarmed. The more he watches me, the more he'll trust my judgment when it really matters." As they walked toward Konoha, Naruto mentally reviewed the changes he'd already made to the timeline. Zabuza and Haku alive. The Land of Waves freed without unnecessary bloodshed. His teammates seeing him as reliable rather than reckless. Small ripples now, but they would become tidal waves of change. And the Chunin exams, the next major turning point, were fast approaching. The weeks following their return from Wave Country marked a critical preparation period. Naruto knew the Chunin exams would bring Orochimaru's first move against the village, and he needed to be ready without revealing too much of his hand. Training with his team took on new importance, not for himself, but for strengthening Sasuke and Sakura beyond their original timeline capabilities. "Sasuke," Naruto called out during one training session, "want to try combining our techniques? I've been working on a wind-style jutsu that might amplify your fire techniques." Sasuke raised an eyebrow, intrigued despite himself. "You know wind style already?" "That's just the basics," Naruto replied modestly, though he had mastered wind manipulation decades ago in his previous life. "But even basic wind can strengthen fire, right?" The resulting combination, Sasuke's fireball jutsu enhanced by Naruto's carefully controlled wind chakra, produced a spectacular flame that impressed even Kakashi. "That's high-level coordination," their sensei remarked. "Elemental combination techniques are usually Chunin level or above." With Sakura, Naruto took a different approach, knowing her future potential as a medical ninja and genjutsu specialist. "Your chakra control is amazing, Sakura-chan," he said during a break. "Way better than mine or Sasuke's." She blinked in surprise. "Really?" "Definitely. Kakashi-sensei mentioned that perfect chakra control was essential for medical ninjutsu and genjutsu. Have you ever thought about specializing in either?" The seed planted, Naruto discovered a basic medical jutsu scroll in the library and casually shared it with her, beginning the path that had made her one of the greatest medical ninjas in his original timeline. Just years earlier, when Kakashi nominated them for the Chunin exams, Naruto feigned appropriate excitement while mentally preparing for the dangers ahead. The encounter with the disguised Rain Ninja, meeting Team 8 and Team 10, confronting the Sound Ninja in the hallway. He navigated each with calculated responses designed to build alliances without drawing undue attention. The first exam under Ibiki proceeded much as before, though this time, Naruto answered the questions legitimately rather than leaving his paper blank. When the final question came, he raised his hand partway, then slammed it down with the same declaration of determination, knowing the psychological impact it would have on the other participants. Before the Forest of Death, Naruto made careful preparations, storage scrolls with extra supplies, soldier pill, and basic medical equipment. When they received their Heaven Scroll, he immediately created a shadow clone to transform into a perfect replica of the scroll. Just in case, he explained to his teammates, better to lose a fake than our real one. Sasuke studied him with newfound respect. "That's actually smart." Naruto grinned. "I have my moments." As they entered the forest, Naruto extended his senses, enhanced by years of training with Kurama, to detect nearby teams and potential threats. When the disguised Orochimaru approached, Naruto was prepared. "Something's wrong," he whispered urgently to his teammates. "That grass ninja's chakra feels wrong, way too powerful for a genin." Sasuke activated his Sharingan, confirming Naruto's warning. "He's right. That's no genin." Their attempted retreat came too late as Orochimaru revealed himself, but their preparedness meant they faced him together rather than scattered by the initial wind attack. "Run!" Naruto shouted, creating dozens of shadow clones to cover their escape. "This is way beyond us." But Orochimaru was not so easily evaded. As the Snake Sanin closed in, Naruto made a calculated decision. He couldn't defeat Orochimaru without revealing his true power, but he could disrupt the original timeline. As Orochimaru prepared to place the cursed seal on Sasuke, Naruto channeled Kurama's chakra, just enough for his eyes to turn red and his whisker marks to deepen. "Get away from my friends," he roared, launching himself between Sasuke and Orochimaru. The momentary surprise was enough. Instead of biting Sasuke's neck, Orochimaru found himself contending with a Nine-Tails enhanced punch that actually forced him back several meters. "Interesting," the Sanin hissed, eyes widening. "The Nine-Tails Jinchuriki has some control already? How unexpected." The distraction allowed Sakura to pull Sasuke to safety while Naruto maintained Orochimaru's focus. "I know what you want," Naruto growled, tapping further into Kurama's power while maintaining control. "You won't get Sasuke or his eyes." Orochimaru's surprise deepened. You are remarkably well informed for a genin. Perhaps I've underestimated you. The battle that followed was brief but significant. Naruto, channeling just enough of Kurama's chakra to appear threatened but determined, kept Orochimaru occupied long enough for an Anbu patrol, which Naruto had anonymously tipped off before the exam, to approach. Sensing the incoming reinforcements, Orochimaru retreated with a final curious glance at Naruto. "We will meet again, Nine-Tails boy. You've become interesting." Though exhausted from the controlled chakra release, Naruto had achieved his primary goal. Sasuke remained free of the cursed seal, fundamentally altering the timeline. "How did you know what he wanted?" Sasuke demanded once they were safe. Naruto shrugged, feigning ignorance. "I didn't really. I just figured anyone that powerful coming after Genin must want some kind of bloodline ability. Your Sharingan is the obvious target." The rest of the forest challenge proved straightforward. With Naruto's sensory abilities guiding them away from dangerous teams and toward easier targets, they secured an Earth Scroll and reached the tower in near record time. During the preliminary matches, Naruto observed his fellow competitors with new appreciation, seeing not just their current abilities, but the incredible shinobi they would become, or had become, in his original timeline. His own match against Kiba presented a perfect opportunity to showcase growth without revealing mastery. Rather than the accidental victory of his first life, Naruto demonstrated tactical thinking and basic but effective win techniques, defeating Kiba through strategy rather than luck. "When did you get so good?" Kiba grumbled as Medical Ninja helped him up. Naruto offered a hand in sportsmanship. "I've always been good, just didn't always show it." The month-long training period before the finals gave Naruto his greatest opportunity yet to alter the timeline. While officially training with Ebisu, before the planned accidental meeting with Jiraiya, Naruto's shadow clones worked tirelessly on multiple fronts. One clone transformed into a nondescript Chunin and delivered an anonymous tip to the Hokage about a planned invasion during the finals. Another sought out Gaara during his nighttime wanderings. "I know about Shukaku," Naruto said directly when he found the sand ninja on a rooftop. "And I know what it's like to have a voice inside your head that never stops." Gaara's cold eyes narrowed. "You know nothing." "I know you haven't slept since you were born," Naruto continued calmly. "I know your father has tried to have you assassinated 6 times. I know your uncle Yashimaru betrayed you. And I know that Shukaku's seal was deliberately made defective to turn you into a weapon." The shock on Gaara's face was unmistakable. "How could you possibly?" "Because I'm like you," Naruto said, lifting his shirt to reveal the seal on his stomach. "I contain the 9 tails. But my seal was made with love, by parents who died protecting me. Yours was made with hatred, by people who wanted to use you." For the first time, uncertainty crept into Gaara's expression. "Why are you telling me this?" "Because you're being used again," Naruto said simply. "Orochimaru has killed the Kazekage and is impersonating him. The invasion planned for the Chunin exam finals is a trap for both our villages." The revelation staggered Gaara, who had never considered that his orders might come from someone other than his father. "Think about it," Naruto continued. "Why would your father sacrifice his greatest weapon in a surprise attack? It makes no sense strategically. You're too valuable to risk in an uncertain battle." Doubt visibly warred with conditioning in Gaara's eyes. "I exist only to kill." "No," Naruto said firmly. "You exist to protect what's precious to you. You just haven't found it yet. But you will. Your siblings, your village, your friends." "Friends?" Gaara echoed the unfamiliar concept. "I'll be the first," Naruto offered with a genuine smile. "And I promise, I won't betray you." He extended his hand, and after a long, tense moment, Gaara tentatively reached out to take it, the first voluntary human contact he'd initiated in years. By the time the finals arrived, Naruto had set multiple contingencies in motion. The Hokage had increased security based on the anonymous tip. Gaara was questioning the invasion orders. Jiraiya, after discovering Naruto's talent with the Rasengan, was keeping closer watch on proceedings than in the original timeline. For his match against Neji, Naruto chose a different approach than his first life's brute force victory. This time, he systematically dismantled Neji's belief in fate through both words and technique. "You talk about destiny as if it's fixed." Naruto said as they exchanged blows, his movements precise and efficient rather than wild. But we make our own fate with every choice. Using subtle wind manipulation to disrupt Neji's gentle fist strikes and shadow clones to analyze the Hyuga's fighting pattern, Naruto demonstrated not raw power but tactical superiority, winning through strategy rather than endurance. As Neji lay defeated, Naruto knelt beside him. Your father chose to die protecting his brother and the village. He turned what could have been fate into a choice made from love. That's true strength. Neji's eyes widened. How could you know about my father? Naruto smiled mysteriously. Because some of us can see beyond what others call destiny. When Sasuke's match against Gaara began, the key moment arrived. In the stands, disguised Sound and Sand Ninja prepared to launch the invasion. But two critical differences changed everything. The increased security forces were ready, and Gaara himself hesitated to initiate his transformation. As feathers began falling, the genjutsu meant to put civilians to sleep, Naruto quickly formed a chakra disruption seal he learned from Jiraiya in his previous life, protecting those around him. It's starting, he warned Sakura and the other rookies. Stay together and protect the civilians. The invasion that followed was dramatically different from the original timeline. With forewarning, Konoha's forces were prepared. With doubt planted in his mind, Gaara refused to fully transform, leaving the Sand's primary weapon neutralized. And with Naruto's anonymous tip specifically highlighting the danger to the third Hokage, additional Anbu guarded the Kage box. When Orochimaru revealed himself and attempted to trap Hiruzen in the barrier technique, he found not one but 3 Hokage-level shinobi waiting. Hiruzen, Jiraiya, and several Anbu squads who breached the barrier using counter seals Jiraiya had prepared. It seems you're not the only one who can plan ahead, Orochimaru, Hiruzen said grimly as they surrounded the Snake Sannin. Realizing his advantage lost, Orochimaru retreated with his Sound Four, vowing vengeance, but failing to land the fatal blow that had killed the third Hokage in the original timeline. In the village below, Naruto tracked down Gaara, who was fighting his own internal battle against Shukaku's influence. You were right, Gaara said through gritted teeth. This invasion, it makes no sense. Let me help you, Naruto offered, approaching slowly. I know how to speak to the tailed beasts. I can help you reach an understanding with Shukaku. In a secluded clearing away from the fighting, Naruto guided Gaara through a modified meditation technique, using his knowledge as a perfect Jinchuriki to help Gaara establish the first tentative connection with his tailed beast that wasn't based on domination or submission. He's afraid, Gaara whispered in shock after their meditation. Shukaku is actually afraid of being controlled and used. Just like you, Naruto pointed out gently, you're more alike than different. As the failed invasion wound down, with far fewer casualties than the original timeline, Naruto watched the third Hokage addressing the village with profound relief. One major death averted, one crucial piece of the future rewritten. You've changed things significantly now, Kurama observed within him. The ripples will grow larger. Good, Naruto replied. The bigger the changes, the more likely we'll avoid the final disaster. But even as he celebrated this victory, Naruto knew greater challenges lay ahead. Akatsuki was still moving in the shadows. Danzo still plotted within the village. And somewhere beyond current understanding, the cosmic destroyer continued its inevitable approach. The timeline was changing, but was it changing enough? The aftermath of the failed invasion brought Naruto both opportunities and new challenges. With the third Hokage alive and Orochimaru's plans thwarted, the village recovered far more quickly than in the original timeline. However, the ripples of change were creating new currents that even Naruto couldn't fully predict. The Sand delegation is requesting a formal peace conference. Hiruzen informed the assembled Jonin and Special Jonin, with Naruto listening through a carefully hidden shadow clone transformed into a fly on the wall. It seems they were genuinely unaware their Kazekage had been replaced by Orochimaru. Can we trust them? Asuma asked skeptically. Interestingly, the Hokage continued, their young Jinchuriki, Gaara, was the one who exposed the deception. According to their report, he refused direct orders during the invasion, claiming they came from an imposter. Murmurs filled the room. The idea of the Sand's human weapon showing such independent judgment was unprecedented. Even more curious, Hiruzen added, glancing at Kakashi, he specifically mentioned conversations with our own Jinchuriki that led to his suspicions. All eyes turned to Kakashi, who thoughtfully rubbed his masked chin. Naruto did disappear several times during the month of training. I assumed he was with Jiraiya-sama. Perfect, Naruto thought as his clone observed the proceedings. The seeds of a stronger Sandleaf alliance are planted. With the third Hokage still alive, many of the leadership problems that had plagued Konoha in the original timeline were avoided. However, Naruto knew Hiruzen's advanced age meant Tsunade would still be needed, and sooner rather than later. Creating the opportunity for that transition became Naruto's next objective. After careful consideration, he implemented a subtle plan during a routine mission briefing. "Old man," Naruto said with calculated casualness after their team received a simple escort assignment, "you seem tired lately. Maybe you should take a vacation." The Hokage chuckled. "The position doesn't allow for vacations, Naruto." "Then, maybe you need a successor," Naruto pressed, his childish suggestion carrying weight beyond his apparent years. "Someone really strong who could help you out. Like, I don't know, one of the legendary Sannin or something?" Hiruzen's eyes sharpened with interest. An unusual suggestion from a genin. What brought this to mind? Naruto shrugged with feigned nonchalance. "Just thinking about the future. The village needs strong leadership, especially now." The conversation seemed innocuous, but Naruto knew the seed had been planted. Combined with carefully arranged coincidences, scrolls about succession planning left visible in the Hokage's office by transformed shadow clones, whispered concerns about the Hokage's health from respected jonin, the idea gained momentum. 2 weeks after the failed invasion, Hiruzen summoned Jiraiya officially. "I'm considering retirement," the third Hokage said without preamble. The invasion made one thing clear: I'm not getting any younger. Jiraiya leaned against the window frame. "I've already told you, I'm not suited for the hat." "I know," Hiruzen agreed, "which is why I want you to find Tsunade." Meanwhile, Naruto focused on strengthening key relationships that would prove crucial in the coming years. With Gaara and his siblings still in Konoha for diplomatic purposes, he arranged regular meetings, ostensibly for Jinchuriki training, but actually cementing the friendship that had eventually defined both their lives. "Your control is improving," Naruto observed during one such session, watching Gaara manipulate sand with increasing precision. "It's easier now that I sleep," Gaara replied with the ghost of a smile. "And since Shukaku and I reached our understanding." That understanding, a rudimentary version of the partnership Naruto had achieved with Kurama, was perhaps Naruto's most significant achievement yet. By sharing techniques he developed over decades as a perfect Jinchuriki, adapted for Gaara's unique situation, Naruto had begun transforming the Sand Ninja years ahead of the original timeline. With Sasuke, Naruto took a more delicate approach. Without the cursed seal driving him toward darkness, Sasuke was more stable, but his ambition and desire for vengeance remained. "I need to get stronger," Sasuke stated flatly during a training session. "Strong enough to kill him." Rather than the platitudes of his first life, Naruto responded with measured wisdom. "You will. But there's something you should consider about Itachi." Sasuke's eyes narrowed dangerously. "What about him?" "Have you ever wondered why someone who could kill an entire clan of powerful Uchiha in one night left you alive? Not just alive, but specifically told you to hate him and seek vengeance?" The question struck Sasuke like a physical blow. "What are you implying?" "Nothing," Naruto said carefully. "Just that the most obvious explanation isn't always the true one. A shinobi looks underneath the underneath, right?" He left Sasuke pondering that thought, a small wedge of doubt that might eventually create space for the truth about the Uchiha massacre to be accepted. The most unexpected development came from Danzo and Root. In the original timeline, they had operated virtually unchecked until Danzo's failed grab for power during the Five Kage Summit. This time, Naruto implemented a more proactive strategy. Using transformed shadow clones and his knowledge of Root's operations from his time as Hokage, Naruto compiled evidence of Danzo's unauthorized missions, alliances with criminals like Orochimaru, and direct contradictions of the Third's orders. Rather than expose this directly, He arranged for the information to reach Jiraiya through apparently unrelated intelligence sources. The Toad Sage, already suspicious of Danzo, began his own investigation, adding his considerable network to the effort. By the time Jiraiya left to search for Tsunade, he carried not just the Hokage's official request, but also a growing file on Root's activities. "Someone's been very busy," Kurama observed as Naruto watched Jiraiya depart through the village gates. "Playing Spy Master at 12 years old. I learned from the best," Naruto replied mentally, thinking of his years working with Jiraiya, Kakashi, and Shikamaru as Hokage. Besides, Danzo caused too many problems in the original timeline. Better to neutralize him early. The failed invasion had another significant benefit. It accelerated Naruto's apparent growth in a way that seemed natural to observers. His quick thinking during the crisis, coordination of fellow Genin, and instrumental role in exposing Orochimaru's deception earned him genuine recognition from village leadership. "Your performance during the invasion was exemplary," Hiruzen told him during a private meeting. "Particularly your initiative in protecting civilians and identifying enemy positions." Naruto accepted the praise with practiced humility. "I just did what any Konoha shinobi would do." "Perhaps," the Hokage said thoughtfully, "but few Genin demonstrate such tactical awareness. The council has reviewed the reports and agreed you're being promoted to Chunin." The promotion, which hadn't occurred in the original timeline until much later, provided Naruto with greater freedom of movement and access to information. As a Chunin, he could lead missions, access mid-level intelligence, and move between villages with less supervision, all critical for his long-term plans. The day he received his Chunin vest, Naruto stood before his mirror, the green garment a tangible symbol of how much the timeline had already changed. "One step closer," he murmured, fingers tracing the spiral symbol on the back. "To what exactly?" Kurama asked. "Preventing the final disaster, or remaking the world as you think it should be?" The question gave Naruto pause. "Is there a difference?" "Perhaps. The divine being sent you back to prevent cosmic destruction, not to create paradise." Naruto frowned. "Saving lives and preventing suffering along the way isn't a detour, it's the whole point." As diplomatic relations with Sand solidified into a stronger alliance than had existed before the invasion, Naruto focused on his next major objective, the return of Tsunade and neutralization of Orochimaru's ability to transfer bodies. In the original timeline, Kabuto had administered a drug that severely weakened Orochimaru just before his confrontation with the third Hokage. With that battle prevented, Orochimaru retained more strength, making him more dangerous in the short term. "We need to ensure Orochimaru can't recover quickly," Naruto explained to Kurama in his mindscape. In the original timeline, his arms were sealed by the third's jutsu, delaying his body transfer and giving us time to bring Sasuke back. "What do you propose?" Kurama asked. Naruto's expression turned calculating. "We need to locate him and ensure he still suffers comparable damage, but from a different source. Using a transformed shadow clone and his knowledge of Orochimaru's hideouts from both his time with Jiraiya and later intelligence as Hokage, Naruto dispatched what appeared to be a simple messenger bird to Jiraiya with critical information about Orochimaru's nearest base. The information reached Jiraiya just as he and Tsunade confronted Orochimaru and Kabuto in the original timeline. The difference: this time, Jiraiya was prepared with specific knowledge about Orochimaru's techniques and vulnerabilities. The resulting battle ended with Orochimaru more severely injured than in the original encounter, not through the sealing of his arms, but through a precisely targeted Rasengan that damaged his chakra network in ways that would delay his body transfer technique by months. When Jiraiya returned with Tsunade and Shizune, Naruto greeted them with perfectly feigned excitement that masked his relief at seeing his once-and-future Hokage alive again. "So you're the brat Jiraiya won't stop talking about," Tsunade said, studying him with arms crossed. "He says you mastered the Rasengan in just 3 weeks." "It wasn't that impressive," Naruto replied with deliberate modesty. "I just have good chakra control for some things." Tsunade's eyebrow raised at his unexpected humility. "That's not what I heard about you." Naruto grinned. "People change. Sometimes they just need the right motivation." The transition of power proceeded smoothly. With Hiruzen voluntarily stepping down rather than dying in battle, the administrative handover was comprehensive. Tsunade assumed the role of fifth Hokage with the full benefit of her predecessor's guidance, creating a more stable leadership than the crisis-driven transition of the original timeline. For Naruto, seeing Tsunade's face on the Hokage monument again, this time carved while its subject lived, brought powerful emotions. In his first life, he had been an observer to history. In this one, he was quietly shaping it from the shadows. How does it feel? Sakura asked as they watched the monument carving from a rooftop. Since Naruto's recommendation about medical training, she had begun apprenticing part-time with hospital staff, accelerating her development by years. Like watching a dream come true, Naruto replied honestly. But it's just the beginning. With Tsunade installed as the fifth Hokage under far more favorable circumstances than in the original timeline, Naruto focused on the next critical juncture, the first appearance of Akatsuki in Konoha and its consequences for Sasuke. In his original life, Itachi and Kasame's brief incursion had triggered Sasuke's crushing defeat by his brother, reinforcing his feelings of inadequacy and pushing him further toward Orochimaru. Without the cursed seal driving him, Sasuke was more stable, but that confrontation could still prove devastating. I need to prepare Sasuke, Naruto explained to Kurama during a meditative session. Not prevent the meeting, that needs to happen, but change how it affects him. A delicate balance, Kurama observed. Too much interference might make Itachi change his approach entirely. Exactly. Itachi's plans were intricate. I don't want to disrupt them, just modify their impact on Sasuke. Over the following weeks, Naruto carefully laid groundwork through training sessions and casual conversations with his teammate. You know, Naruto mentioned during a break, I've been reading about famous shinobi in the library. The accounts of Itachi are interesting. Sasuke tensed immediately. What about him? Just that the reports don't always match up. Some describe him as cold-blooded and power-hungry. Others mention his pacifist tendencies and loyalty to the village before, well, you know. That's absurd, Sasuke snapped. He murdered our entire clan. Naruto shrugged. I'm just saying history isn't always straightforward. The Third Great Ninja War had heroes who were enemies' villains. Perspective matters. He let the conversation drop, but the seed was planted, just as he sensed the approaching chakra signatures that signaled Akatsuki's arrival was imminent. When Itachi and Kasame entered Konoha, Naruto was prepared. Rather than the accidental encounter of his first life, he deliberately placed himself in their path while ensuring Sasuke would be nearby, but not immediately present. Well, this makes our job easier, Kasame grinned as they cornered Naruto in a tea house. The Nine-Tails Jinchuriki just walking right up to us. Naruto Uzumaki, Itachi stated flatly. You'll need to come with us. Naruto maintained a calm demeanor that contrasted sharply with his panicked reaction in the original timeline. Itachi Uchiha and Kasame Hoshigaki of Akatsuki. You're collecting tailed beasts for a project that will fail spectacularly. Both missing nin showed momentary surprise at his knowledge. You're well informed for a child, Itachi observed, his Sharingan studying Naruto intensely. I'm full of surprises, Naruto replied, subtly channeling chakra to alert nearby sensors, like knowing that your true loyalty was never to Akatsuki Itachi. The subtle widening of Itachi's eyes was all the reaction he showed, but Naruto knew his words had hit their mark. The kid's talking nonsense, Kasame growled. Let's just take him and go. Before they could move, Might Guy appeared, right on schedule, followed moments later by Kakashi and, crucially, Sasuke. Itachi! Sasuke snarled, charging forward with Chidori blazing. What followed appeared, on the surface, similar to their original confrontation, Itachi effortlessly defeating Sasuke and subjecting him to Tsukuyomi. But Naruto, with his enhanced senses, detected the subtle difference in Itachi's chakra flow. The genjutsu, while still traumatic, lacked the crushing psychological brutality of the original. As Akatsuki retreated and Sasuke collapsed, Naruto knelt beside his teammate, ostensibly checking his condition but actually whispering something crucial. Remember what I said about perspectives. Even the Tsukuyomi shows only what Itachi wants you to see. In the hospital afterward, Sasuke's reaction to the defeat differed subtly from the original timeline. The frustration and humiliation remained, but tinged with something new, confusion. He said something strange, Sasuke confided when Naruto visited. Before the Tsukuyomi, he said, "You still don't have enough hatred, but perhaps you have enough questions." Naruto nodded thoughtfully. That doesn't sound like someone who just wants you to blindly seek revenge. The doubt planted, Naruto moved to the next phase of his plan, accelerating Sasuke's legitimate strength gain to counterbalance his desire for shortcuts to power. "I've been working on a new training method," Naruto told him once Sasuke was released from the hospital. "It's based on something Kakashi-sensei mentioned about elemental affinity." Over the following days, Naruto introduced Sasuke to training techniques that had taken years to develop in the original timeline: chakra paper for affinity testing, advanced nature transformation exercises, and the foundations of combining elemental chakra with existing techniques. "How do you know all this?" Sasuke demanded after Naruto demonstrated a wind chakra-enhanced kunai cutting clean through a boulder. "I ask a lot of questions," Naruto replied with a shrug. "Jiraiya-sensei, Kakashi-sensei, even Asuma-sensei for wind techniques. People like sharing knowledge if you show genuine interest." The accelerated training served multiple purposes. It gave Sasuke legitimate advancement that reduced the appeal of Orochimaru's promised shortcuts, strengthened their bond as teammates, and prepared him for the challenges Naruto knew were coming. Meanwhile, the Tsunade transition created new opportunities. With his foreknowledge of her personality and priorities, Naruto subtly guided her attention to issues that had been neglected in the original timeline. "Tsunade Bachan," he began during one of his regular visits to her office, ignoring her eye twitch at the nickname. "I was wondering about something." "What now, brat?" she asked, setting aside paperwork. "Well, I heard some of the other Jinchuriki have special training to control their tailed beasts. Gaara mentioned it when he was here. Does Konoha have anything like that for me?" The seemingly innocent question highlighted a significant oversight in his development, one that had left him vulnerable in the original timeline. Tsunade, predictably, investigated further and discovered the minimal support he'd received as a Jinchuriki compared to those in other villages. "This is unacceptable," she declared, creating a specialized training program that, coincidentally, aligned with techniques Naruto already knew but couldn't reveal. The official program gave him legitimate cover for abilities that might otherwise raise questions. With Jiraiya frequently in the village between intelligence-gathering missions, Naruto accelerated his training in sealing techniques, knowledge that would prove crucial for modifying the Akatsuki's tailed beast extraction method when the time came. "You have an unusual aptitude for this," Jiraiya remarked during one session, watching Naruto reproduce a complex containment seal after seeing it just once. "Must be the Uzumaki blood," Naruto nodded, carefully maintaining his cover. "It just makes sense to me, like I can see how the patterns should flow." As the weeks passed, Naruto continued his multi-layered preparation, official training with Team 7, specialized Jinchuriki instruction under Tsunade's program, sealing techniques with Jiraiya, and his own secret advancement of future techniques adapted for his younger body. In his private training ground, protected by increasingly sophisticated security seals, Naruto demonstrated his true progress to Kurama. "Six-path sage mode," he whispered, activating a partial manifestation of his ultimate form. The familiar sensation of weightlessness, enhanced perception, and connection to all living things flowed through him, though he could maintain it for only seconds in his current body. "Impressive," Kurama acknowledged. "Your chakra network is adapting faster than expected." "Not fast enough," Naruto replied, releasing the technique before it strained his system. "We're approaching the point where the timeline will diverge significantly. The original Sasuke retrieval mission might not happen at all in this configuration." "Is that a problem?" Kurama asked. "Yes and no. Preventing Sasuke's defection is crucial, but that mission forged bonds and revealed abilities that became important later. I need to ensure those developments still occur, even without the original catalyst." The solution came in the form of intelligence about Orochimaru's continued interest in Sasuke. Using his shadow clone network and knowledge of the Snake Sannin's methods, Naruto confirmed that despite the timeline changes, Orochimaru still planned to acquire Sasuke, just through different means than the Sound Four. This information, carefully filtered through legitimate channels, reached Tsunade's desk as an intelligence report, rather than Naruto's direct warning. The resulting mission assignment achieved Naruto's objective, a team deployment that included the same core group from the original Sasuke retrieval mission, but with a different purpose, intercepting Orochimaru's agents before they could reach Konoha. It's a B-rank mission with potential to escalate, Shikamaru explained during the briefing, recently promoted to Chunin as in the original timeline. We'll be intercepting suspected sound ninja near the Valley of the End, based on intelligence from our border patrols. Naruto, Neji, Choji, Kiba, and Shikamaru, the same team composition, but now protecting Sasuke rather than pursuing him. Better still, because of the mission's preventative nature, Tsunade assigned an additional member, Sasuke himself. Since you're the potential target, she explained to the Uchiha, you should be involved in the operation. Consider it a chance to demonstrate your abilities against enemies who think you're valuable. The mission parameters established, the team departed, heading toward a confrontation that would reshape their futures in ways both similar to and dramatically different from the original timeline. The forest canopy blurred as Team Shikamaru moved swiftly toward the Valley of the End. Unlike the desperate pursuit of Naruto's original timeline, this mission had a different tenor, preventative rather than reactive, unified rather than fragmented. Yet Naruto knew the stakes remained just as high. Our intelligence suggests Orochimaru's agents will approach from the northeast, Shikamaru explained as they paused on a high branch for tactical assessment. We'll establish a perimeter and intercept before they cross into fire country. Sasuke, positioned at Naruto's right, maintained a focused expression. The weeks of targeted training had strengthened him significantly, but more importantly, the seeds of doubt about Itachi's true motives had taken root, making him less susceptible to Orochimaru's manipulation. Remember, Naruto added, carefully balancing his input to avoid seeming too commanding, these sound ninja will likely have unique abilities similar to what we saw during the Chunin exams. Expect the unexpected. Neji activated his Byakugan, scanning the forest ahead. I detect 5 chakra signatures approaching. Unusual configurations, definitely not standard shinobi. The sound for, Naruto murmured, then quickly covered his slip. I mean, probably Orochimaru's special forces based on the intelligence reports. Kiba sniffed the air, Akamaru growling softly beside him. There's a 5th scent, smells like medicine and something dead. Kimimaro, Naruto realized. He's with them this time, not pursuing separately. The tactical situation had changed significantly from his memories. Instead of the sound force separating to delay pursuers while Kimimaro escaped with Sasuke, all 5 were approaching together, and they would face a prepared Konoha team rather than conduct an extraction. Change of plans, Shikamaru decided after assessing the information. They're moving as a unit, which means we need to separate them. Kiba and Akamaru will create a diversion from the east. Shoji and I will engage from the front. Neji, Naruto, and Sasuke will circle behind to cut off their retreat. Naruto nodded, recognizing Shikamaru's strategic brilliance, even as he calculated how to ensure the right matchups occurred, the battles that had been formative in his original timeline. As they separated into teams, Naruto created a shadow clone that transformed into a small bird, allowing him to monitor all engagements simultaneously, a technique he perfected as Hokage for battlefield coordination. The interception proceeded with precision. Kiba and Akamaru's fang over fang technique tore through the forest from the east, forcing the sound ninja to veer west, directly into Shikamaru's shadow possession trap, which momentarily immobilized all 5. Konoha shinobi, Sukun snarled as they broke free from the technique through their curse marks. How did they know we were coming? It doesn't matter, Kimimaro stated coldly, his sickly appearance belying his deadly ability. Orochimaru-sama needs the Uchiha. Failure is not an option. What followed was a carefully orchestrated series of encounters as the sound ninja separated to engage different opponents, exactly as Naruto had hoped. Choji faced Jirobo, the hulking sound ninja absorbing his expansion jutsu attacks with chakra-draining barriers. You're nothing but a fat weakling, Jirobo taunted, echoing the same words that had triggered Choji's determination in the original timeline. Through his shadow clone's observation, Naruto watched with satisfaction as Choji's expression hardened with resolve. "I'm not fat," he growled, reaching for the soldier pills in his pouch. "I'm pleasantly plump." Elsewhere, Neji engaged Kidomaru, the six-armed ninja, whose arrows and webs had nearly killed him before. This time, however, Neji was fresh and prepared, his Byakugan active from the start. "A Hyuga, how interesting," Kidomaru observed, launching his first wave of hardened web projectiles. "Let's test the limits of those famous eyes." Shikamaru found himself facing Tayuya, the genjutsu specialist whose summoned demons had nearly overwhelmed him in the original mission. "Your shadow techniques are useless against my sound-based genjutsu," she sneered, raising her flute. Shikamaru's lazy expression masked his tactical assessment. "Troublesome woman, I should have stayed home." Kiba and Akamaru confronted Sakon and Nukon, the twins whose cellular fusion ability had proven so dangerous before. 2 against 2, Sakon smiled cruelly. "But we're 2 in one body. You're already outnumbered." The most significant change came in the final pairing. Instead of Lee arriving later to face Kimimaro alone, it was Naruto and Sasuke together who confronted the Kaguya clan's last survivor. "Sasuke Uchiha," Kimimaro acknowledged, bones sliding ominously from his palms. "Orochimaru-sama awaits you. This loud one is unnecessary." Sasuke stepped forward, Sharingan active. "I make my own choices about who I align with." Naruto moved to his teammate's side. "And he chooses Konoha." As the battles unfolded across the forest, Naruto faced a complex challenge, ensuring his friends experienced the growth-inducing struggles of the original timeline, while preventing the life-threatening injuries that had nearly claimed them. Through his shadow clone network, he made subtle interventions. A well-timed kunai to disrupt Kidomaru's most lethal arrow before it reached Neji. A transformed clone dropping soldier pills near Choji at a crucial moment. A wind technique that diverted the worst of Tayuya's sound attacks from Shikamaru. Small nudges, not enough to rob his friends of their hard-earned victories, but sufficient to ensure they all survived with the wisdom those battles provided. His own confrontation alongside Sasuke against Kimimaro proved the most challenging. The bone-manipulating ninja was, in many ways, the perfect counter to both their fighting styles. Sasuke's Sharingan-predicted attacks could be blocked by spontaneously erupted bone shields, while Naruto's overwhelming force could be redirected through Kimimaro's flexible skeletal structure. "He's on another level," Sasuke admitted, after a bone spike narrowly missed his throat. "Then we need to work together," Naruto replied, already forming shadow clones. "Combination attack like we practiced." What followed was a demonstration of teamwork that had never existed in the original timeline. Sasuke's precision fire techniques supercharged by Naruto's wind manipulation, shadow clones positioned to redirect Kimimaro's attention, while Sasuke targeted exposed weaknesses with Chidori strikes. Yet even their combined efforts merely contained rather than defeated Kimimaro, as he activated his curse mark second state, bones erupting across his transformed body. "Orochimaru-sama gave me purpose," Kimimaro stated as he prepared his final technique. "I will not fail him, even if this diseased body fails me." The ground beneath them trembled as bone spikes began emerging, the devastating dance of the seedling fern that had nearly killed Lee and Gaara in the original timeline. This time, however, Naruto was prepared. As Kimimaro's technique reached its peak, Naruto made a calculated decision to reveal a fraction of his true power. "Sasuke, get back!" he shouted, channeling Kurama's chakra to form a protective cloak around himself. Golden energy enveloped him as his eyes shifted to red, whisker marks deepening. "What is this power?" Kimimaro wondered, his technique momentarily stalled by the sudden chakra surge. With speed that shocked even Sasuke, Naruto formed a Rasengan infused with just enough wind chakra to create the beginnings of a Rasen Shuriken. Not the completed technique, but an enhanced version believable for his apparent development level. The impact against Kimimaro's bone defense created a deafening explosion that cleared a 50-foot section of forest. When the dust settled, Kimimaro remained standing, but barely, his ultimate defense cracked and his body failing from his disease rather than Naruto's attack. "Impossible," the sound ninja whispered before collapsing, his illness claiming him just as it had in the original timeline. Sasuke stared at Naruto with new eyes, shocked, impressed, and slightly wary. Since when can you do that? Naruto allowed his chakra cloak to fade, offering a tired smile. Been practicing. Tsunade Bachan's special Jinchuriki training is really helping with control. Before Sasuke could question further, shadow clones reported through dispelled memories that the other battles were concluding, each with the same victors as the original timeline, but with less severe injuries thanks to Naruto's subtle interventions. As they regrouped, battered but alive, Shikamaru assessed their condition. Everyone's accounted for. Mission accomplished. The sound ninja have been neutralized. Not just neutralized, Naruto added, looking meaningfully at Sasuke. We've sent Orochimaru a message. He can't just take what he wants from Konoha. The return journey allowed Naruto to observe the profound differences his changes had created. Choji had discovered his butterfly mode without nearly dying. Neji had overcome Kidomaru's perfect accuracy without a near-fatal wound. Kiba and Akamaru had developed new combination techniques against the twins, and Shikamaru had stretched his strategic thinking against Taiyuya's unpredictable summons. Most importantly, Sasuke had fought alongside them rather than against them, experiencing the strength of Konoha's unity rather than the isolation of Orochimaru's promise. As they approached the village gates, Sasuke fell into step beside Naruto. That power you used, he said quietly. It wasn't just the nine tails, was it? There was something else. Naruto considered his response carefully. Let's just say I've been working on combining different chakra types. The nine tails is only part of what makes me who I am. Sasuke nodded slowly. I've been thinking about what you said, about Itachi and perspectives, about looking underneath the underneath. And, Naruto prompted, I still need to confront him someday, Sasuke said, his expression complex. But maybe there are questions I need to ask before I try to kill him. It was a small shift, but Naruto recognized its significance, the first step toward a different path than the revenge-consumed Sasuke of his original timeline. As they passed through Konoha's gates, greeted by relieved Chunin guards, Naruto felt a momentary sense of accomplishment. The mission that had once marked his greatest failure, losing Sasuke to darkness, had transformed into a victory that strengthened bonds instead of severing them. Yet even as they reported their success to Tsunade, Naruto sensed that greater challenges loomed. His changes to the timeline were creating ripples he couldn't fully predict. Orochimaru, thwarted but not defeated, would adapt his plans. Akatsuki continued moving in the shadows, and somewhere beyond current understanding, the cosmic destroyer that had shattered his original world continued its inexorable approach. That night, as Naruto stood atop the Hokage monument, looking over the peaceful village, Kurama spoke within his mind. You've altered things significantly now, the Nine Tails observed. The timeline you remember is becoming increasingly irrelevant. Good, Naruto replied. That future led to disaster. Yes, but your foreknowledge was your greatest advantage. As the timeline diverges, that advantage diminishes. Naruto nodded, watching distant lights flicker across the village. Then we adapt. We've prevented some of the worst outcomes, but the real threats are still coming. Akatsuki, Madara, Kaguya, and beyond them, the cosmic destroyer. As if summoned by his thoughts, a strange sensation washed over him, a momentary distortion in the natural energy he'd grown so attuned to sensing. It lasted only seconds, but left him with an unsettling certainty. Something's changed, he whispered. Something new. In the deepest shadows beyond the village wall, a figure stood watching, seemingly human but emanating an energy unlike any Naruto had encountered before. As quickly as he sensed it, the presence vanished, leaving only a lingering disturbance in the natural flow of energy. What was that? Kurama growled, equally disturbed. I don't know, Naruto admitted, a chill running through him despite the warm night. But I think our changes to the timeline have attracted attention. Attention from something that wasn't part of my original memories. As Naruto descended from the monument, the weight of his knowledge and the uncertainty of the altered future pressed upon him. He had rewritten fate in significant ways, saving lives and preventing tragedies. But every change created new possibilities, some potentially worse than what he sought to prevent. The divine being's warning echoed in his mind. The timeline will resist your changes. New threats may arise from your interference. Had his intervention somehow accelerated the approach of the cosmic destroyer? or awaken something equally dangerous that had remained dormant in his original timeline? The answers remained elusive, but one thing was certain. The next phase of his journey would venture into territory even his future memories couldn't illuminate. As Shippuden approached, Naruto would need more than foreknowledge to face what was coming. He would need to rewrite fate itself. The journey to Mount Myoboku began less than a week after the successful mission against Orochimaru's agents. Unlike his first life, where Jiraiya had taken him away from the village primarily to protect him from Akatsuki, this departure had been Naruto's carefully orchestrated plan, a critical period to master techniques that had taken him decades in his original timeline. "You're sure about this?" Tsunade had asked when he proposed the extended training journey. 3 years is a long time to be away from the village. "I need this," Naruto had replied with uncharacteristic seriousness. "The Nine Tails chakra I used against Kimimaro, it was barely controlled. If I'm going to master it, I need specialized training away from populated areas." What he didn't mention was his true objective, accelerating his development far beyond what had been possible in his original timeline, with none of the constraints or hesitations that had limited him before. The sacred Toad Mountain provided the perfect environment. Isolated from prying eyes and rich with natural energy, it allowed Naruto to progress through stages of training that had originally taken years in mere months. "You're advancing unnaturally fast," Fukasaku observed after Naruto mastered Sage Mode in a fraction of the time it had taken originally. "Even Jiraiya Boy wasn't this quick." Naruto offered a knowing smile. "I've got good motivation." "More than good motivation," the elderly Toad Sage countered. "It's almost as if you've done this before." That perceptiveness was why Naruto had chosen to bring Fukasaku partially into his confidence, revealing just enough about his premonitions and visions to explain his accelerated progress without divulging the full truth of his time travel. "The future I've glimpsed," he told the Toad Sage one evening, "contains threats beyond anything this world has faced. I need to be ready." With Jiraiya frequently traveling to maintain his spy network, Naruto had ample opportunity to train independently, pushing boundaries that would have alarmed even his godfather. In secluded valleys, he refined techniques that had once taken wars to perfect. Rasen Shuriken variants that manipulated elemental chakra at the molecular level, shadow clone training methods that compressed decades of experience into months, and increasingly sophisticated communication with Kurama. "Your chakra network is evolving rapidly," Kurama observed during one of their inner world sessions. "Faster than in our original timeline. My younger body is adapting to techniques I'd mastered as an adult," Naruto explained, examining the golden glow that now surrounded him, even in his mindscape. "The cellular memory is there. We just need to reactivate it." The most challenging aspect was re-establishing his connection to Six-Path Sage Mode, the divine power granted by Hagoromo in the final battle against Madara. Without that catalyst, Naruto had to forge a different path, combining his perfect understanding of natural energy with Kurama's refined chakra and his Uzumaki heritage. The original method required the chakra of all nine-tailed beasts, Naruto mused, floating cross-legged in the air above a secluded mountain peak. But there must be another way. "Perhaps," Kurama suggested, "the divine entity that sent you back left traces of that power within your soul, fragments you can access through deep meditation." The theory proved correct. Through months of intensive meditation techniques developed across multiple lifetimes, Naruto discovered ethereal threads of six-path chakra interwoven with his spiritual energy, remnants of his connection to Hagoromo and the divine mission that had returned him to the past. By carefully cultivating these energy fragments, Naruto established a nascent version of Six-Path Sage Mode, not the full manifestation he'd wielded against Kaguya, but a foundation that grew stronger each day. 2 years into their journey, Jiraiya witnessed a demonstration that left him speechless. Naruto hovering above a lake, surrounded by a golden chakra cloak, multiple truth-seeking orbs floating behind him in perfect formation. "What exactly have you been doing when I'm away?" the Toad Sage asked, uncharacteristically serious. Naruto descended slowly, allowing the most visible manifestations of his power to fade, preparing for what's coming. And what exactly is coming that requires this? Jiraiya gestured at the residual golden glow still surrounding his godson. Akatsuki is just the beginning, Naruto replied. Behind them is Madara, behind him Kaguya, and beyond even her. He paused, meeting Jiraiya's eyes directly, something that could end everything. Rather than dismissing these claims as paranoid fantasies, Jiraiya studied his godson with newfound respect. Something had changed in the boy, a depth of understanding and purpose that transcended his years. You know more than you're saying, Jiraiya concluded. Naruto nodded. I've been having visions since I was a child, detailed glimpses of possible futures. I didn't understand them at first, but now, this partial truth had become Naruto's established cover, visions, explaining his improbable knowledge without revealing his true nature as a time traveler. It provided just enough explanation to satisfy those closest to him while maintaining the secrecy his mission required. The final year of training focused on preparations specific to the challenges Naruto knew awaited them. He created and memorized detailed maps of all Akatsuki hideouts, developed counters for every technique his future enemies would employ, and established a global network of shadow clones, transformed and stationed strategically in locations critical to future events. When the 3-year mark approached, Naruto felt a complex mixture of anticipation and apprehension. His power had grown far beyond what it had been at this point in his original timeline, but the true test lay ahead, not just preventing catastrophes, but navigating the unpredictable consequences of his alterations. Are you ready to return? Jiraiya asked as they packed their supplies. Naruto looked toward the horizon, sensing the distant chakra signatures of the friends and enemies that awaited him. As ready as I'll ever be. The journey back to Konoha took them through territories Naruto had once walked as Hokage, now viewed through the eyes of his younger self with the wisdom of decades. Each village, each landmark carried memories of both triumph and tragedy, a future he was determined to rewrite. As the great gates of Konoha appeared on the horizon, Naruto felt a surge of emotion. This village, his home, had been destroyed twice in his original lifetime. This time, he would ensure it remained standing, its people protected from the shadows that sought to engulf them. Home sweet home, Jiraiya remarked casually, unaware of the profound significance the simple phrase held for his student. Naruto's return caused the expected stir, friends gathering to welcome him, marveling at his growth and changed appearance. Yet those closest to him noticed something beyond physical maturity, a presence that commanded attention, wisdom beyond his years reflected in eyes that had witnessed lifetimes. You've changed, Sakura observed during their first team meeting, studying him with medical precision. Not just taller or stronger, there's something different about your chakra. Kakashi, perceptive as ever, noted similar changes. Your energy signature has evolved considerably. Jiraiya must have put you through quite the regimen. Naruto offered the practiced smile he'd perfected, revealing enough enthusiasm to seem familiar while concealing the depths of his transformation. You could say that. I've learned a few new tricks. The understatement of centuries, Kurama commented dryly within their shared mindscape. Their first training exercise, a repeat of the bell test, provided Naruto his first opportunity to showcase a fraction of his true capabilities while maintaining his cover. Rather than the straightforward approach of his original timeline, he employed a sophisticated combination of shadow clones, space-time awareness, and subtle sensory techniques that allowed him to secure both bells before Kakashi could fully activate his Sharingan. Impressive, Kakashi acknowledged, genuine surprise evident despite his masked features. Your tactical approach has improved dramatically. I had a good teacher, Naruto replied, thinking not of Jiraiya, but of the decades of leadership and warfare experience he carried within. That evening, as Naruto stood atop the Hage Monument, his customary spot for reflection, he sensed a familiar chakra signature approaching. Sasuke, who had advanced to Jonin during Naruto's absence, landed silently beside him. Your display today, Sasuke began without preamble, was deliberately restrained. Naruto smiled slightly. Trust Sasuke to see through the performance. I didn't want to show off too much on my first day back. Sasuke responded, the familiar sound carrying layers of meaning between them. The question is how much you're still hiding. Their relationship had evolved significantly since Naruto's interventions had prevented Sasuke's defection. Without Orochimaru's influence and with the seeds of doubt planted about Itachi's true motives, Sasuke had grown into a respected Konoha shinobi, still driven, still serious, but anchored by loyalty rather than vengeance. "I've learned some things during my training," Naruto admitted, deciding to offer a partial truth. "Things about the Akatsuki, about what they're planning, about the real powers behind them." Sasuke's expression sharpened with interest. "Real powers? The Akatsuki are just puppets," Naruto explained, turning to face his friend directly. "The true threat is someone manipulating them from the shadows, someone connected to your clan's history." The mention of the Uchiha immediately captured Sasuke's full attention. "Explain." "I will," Naruto promised, "but not just to you. We need to gather allies, build a network of trust. The coming threats will require more than just our strength." As they descended from the monument, discussing potential confidants and strategies, Naruto felt the weight of the future pressing upon him. His return to Konoha marked the beginning of the most critical phase of his mission, a systematic dismantling of threats that had once consumed worlds. The pieces were in position, the knowledge secured, the power cultivated. Now came the true test, rewriting a timeline of catastrophe into one of preservation. The first major divergence from the original timeline came sooner than even Naruto had anticipated. 3 weeks after his return to Konoha, intelligence from one of his strategically placed transformed shadow clones in Suna reported unusual movements near the village perimeter, the first indicators of Akatsuki's planned abduction of Gaara. "It's happening earlier than expected," Naruto murmured, processing the memories from his dispelled clone. "The timeline is already shifting," Kurama observed. "Your changes have accelerated their plans." Rather than waiting for official mission orders as in his first life, Naruto implemented his predetermined countermeasures. A shadow clone, transformed into a nondescript messenger bird, delivered a sealed warning directly to Gaara, while Naruto himself requested an urgent meeting with Tsunade. "I have reliable intelligence that Akatsuki is preparing to move against Suna," he stated without preamble, placing a detailed map on the Hokage's desk. "Specifically, against the Kazekage." Tsunade's eyes narrowed with suspicion. "What reliable intelligence? You've been back in the village for less than a month." "I established information networks during my training with Jiraiya," Naruto explained, the partial truth flowing smoothly. "And I have sensory abilities that allow me to detect disturbances in tailed beast chakra." Not entirely false, his connection to Kurama had evolved to include a form of chakra network awareness that extended to all Biju, though he carefully omitted that this ability had developed over decades in his original timeline. "You're suggesting a preemptive response," Tsunade observed, studying the tactical annotations he'd added to the map. "Based on intelligence I can't verify." "I'm suggesting we prevent the capture of a fellow Jinchuriki and valuable ally," Naruto countered. "The Kazekage's abduction would destabilize the entire region and provide Akatsuki with the first piece of their ultimate weapon." The confidence and strategic framing of his argument, so unlike the impulsive demands of his younger self, gave Tsunade pause. After a moment's consideration, she activated a security seal on her office door. "You've changed, Naruto," she said directly. "Jiraiya mentioned your accelerated development, but this is beyond advanced training. You're talking like a military strategist with decades of experience." Naruto met her gaze steadily. "I've seen things, Tsunade-bachan, possibilities, futures, call them visions or premonitions, but they've shown me what happens if we react rather than anticipate." The admission, another carefully calibrated partial truth, achieved its purpose. Tsunade's medical knowledge included awareness of prophetic abilities and bloodline manifestations that could explain such phenomenon. "These visions," she pressed, "how detailed are they?" "Enough to know that 2 Akatsuki members, Sasori of the Red Sand and Deidara of Iwagakure, will attempt to infiltrate Suna 3 days from now, targeting the Kazekage for extraction of the One Tail." The specificity proved convincing. Within hours, an elite response team was assembled. Naruto, Sasuke, Sakura, and Kakashi, accompanied by Team Guy for additional support. Unlike the desperate pursuit of his first lifetime, this would be a coordinated preventative operation. Before their departure, Naruto pulled Sakura aside. Her medical training under Tsunade had advanced significantly, another timeline acceleration he'd subtly engineered. "I need specialized antidotes," he explained, handing her a scroll containing detailed formulas. "Sasori uses poison derived from these specific compounds. Having counters ready could save lives." Sakura's eyes widened as she reviewed the complex formulations. "How could you possibly know his exact poison composition?" "Let's just say Jiraiya's intelligence network is very thorough," Naruto replied with a smile that didn't quite reach his eyes. The journey to Suna took half the time of their original response. Thanks to Naruto's knowledge of optimal routes and his enhanced sensing abilities that detected and avoided potential delays. More importantly, they arrived before the attack rather than in its aftermath, a critical difference that would reshape the entire encounter. Gaara, forewarned by Naruto's message, greeted them at the village entrance, alive, unharmed, and prepared rather than captured and dying as in the original timeline. "Your warning was precise," the young Kazekage acknowledged, clasping Naruto's hand in a gesture of trust that surprised their companions. "Our sensors detected two powerful chakra signatures approaching from the north, exactly as you predicted." The bond between the two Jinchuriki had deepened through correspondence during Naruto's training years, another carefully cultivated relationship that differed significantly from the original timeline. "We need to set a trap rather than wait for their attack," Naruto suggested, addressing both Gaara and the assembled shinobi. "Draw them into terrain that neutralizes their advantages." The plan they developed combined Naruto's perfect knowledge of the Akatsuki members' abilities with Gaara's intimate understanding of the desert environment. Rather than a defensive battle within Suna's walls, which had resulted in civilian casualties and Gaara's capture, they would engage the enemies in a prepared battleground of their choosing. When Deidara and Sasori approached the following day, they found not an unsuspecting target, but a meticulously orchestrated ambush. Naruto, channeling just enough of Kurama's chakra to enhance his sensory abilities, tracked their approach with precision. 3 minutes until they reached the first perimeter, he reported, his eyes briefly flashing red. "Everyone in position?" The coordinated attack that followed bore little resemblance to the desperate battle of his original timeline. As the Akatsuki members entered the designated zone, they found themselves simultaneously contending with Gaara's sand from below, Sasuke's lightning techniques from the east, Team Guy's coordinated assault from the west, and Kakashi's tactical support from the north. Most significantly, Naruto implemented knowledge that had taken years to gather in his first life, the specific weaknesses of each Akatsuki member. Deidara's clay explosives are earth-based and vulnerable to lightning, he called to Sasuke, who immediately modified his approach to target the bomber's pouches directly. Sasori's puppet body has a single vulnerable point, a cylinder containing his heart on the right chest cavity, he informed Sakura and Kakashi, who coordinated their attacks to exploit this critical weakness. The battle that had once stretched over days and cost Gaara's life concluded in hours, with both Akatsuki members neutralized, but, critically, captured alive rather than killed. "How did you know exactly where to strike?" Sasuke asked afterward, watching as specialized sealing teams secured the prisoners. "Research," Naruto replied simply. "Know your enemy better than they know themselves." The interrogation that followed yielded intelligence that had taken years to piece together in the original timeline. The locations of multiple Akatsuki hideouts, details of their extraction technique, and confirmation of the organization's true leadership. But Naruto's most significant deviation came in his approach to the captured missing nin. Rather than allowing their elimination, he requested private audience with each, beginning with Sasori. "Your grandmother Chiyo still lives," he told the puppet master, seated before his contained form. "She regrets every day the distance between you, the misunderstandings that drove you away." Sasori's expression remained impassive, though something flickered in his eyes. "You know nothing of my past. I know you created puppets of your parents to fill the void their death left," Naruto continued softly. "I know your art stems from a desire to create something eternal in a world where everything precious is temporary. I know Akatsuki promised you meaning, but delivered only emptiness. The puppet master's carefully constructed emotional walls showed the first hairline fractures. What could you possibly understand about emptiness, Jinchuriki? More than you might think, Naruto answered, allowing a glimpse of his true age to surface in his eyes. I've seen what awaits at the end of Akatsuki's path, not art or eternity, just exploitation and destruction, including yours. The conversation lasted hours, Naruto systematically addressing the core wounds that had driven Sasori's descent into inhumanity, not through conventional interrogation techniques, but through the perfect psychological understanding of someone who had spent decades healing the broken souls of an entire shinobi world. With Deidara, he took a different approach, acknowledging the bomber's artistic philosophy while revealing the true disposability of Akatsuki's members in the organization's ultimate plan. You believe your explosions represent the beauty of fleeting moments, Naruto observed. Yet you're being used as nothing but a tool by people who see you as utterly expendable, a contradiction of everything your art stands for. By the time Chiyo arrived from Suna's council chambers to see her grandson, Sasori was already experiencing the first genuine emotional awakening since his childhood, not fully redeemed but cracked open to possibilities beyond hatred and isolation. What did you say to him? The elderly puppeteer asked, astonished by changes in her grandson she'd thought impossible. Naruto smiled gently. I just reminded him of what he's forgotten, that immortality through art is a poor substitute for human connection. The resolution of the Kazekage rescue mission, transformed into the Kazekage protection operation, rippled across the shinobi world. Suna's alliance with Konoha strengthened immeasurably. Gaara's position as Kazekage was reinforced rather than interrupted. And most significantly, Akatsuki suffered their first major setback years ahead of the original timeline. As they prepared to return to Konoha with their prisoners, Gaara pulled Naruto aside for a private conversation. The things you knew, he said quietly, about their abilities, their exact plans, they go beyond intelligence gathering. Naruto considered his friend carefully. Among all his precious people, Gaara was perhaps most prepared to understand the truth, or at least part of it. I see possibilities, he admitted. Paths the future might take. The one where we failed to stop them, where they took you and extracted Shikaku, was unacceptable. Gaara studied him with the penetrating intensity that had once made him such a fearsome opponent. These possibilities? How far ahead do they extend? Far enough to know we're facing threats beyond anything the 5 great nations have encountered before, Naruto replied. And that facing them divided would lead to destruction. The Kazekage nodded slowly. Then we must ensure we face them united. As they clasped hands in farewell, Naruto felt the timeline shifting further. Alliances forming years ahead of schedule. Preparations beginning for conflicts that might now unfold entirely differently. Upon their return to Konoha, the success of the mission elevated Naruto's standing considerably. Tsunade, reviewing their report with Jiraiya present, asked the question directly. These visions of yours, how reliable are they going forward? Naruto met their gaze steadily. Reliable enough to know our next moves should target the Akatsuki leadership directly rather than responding to their attacks. Reliable enough to know there are traitors within Konoha's highest ranks feeding information to our enemies. The statement sent a shock through the room. Jiraiya's expression darkened with recognition. The investigation into Danzo's activities that Naruto had subtly initiated before his training journey. You're suggesting a coordinated offensive rather than defensive strategy, Tsunade summarized, based on foreknowledge that you can't fully explain. I'm suggesting we write a different future than the one I've glimpsed, Naruto corrected. One where we dictate the terms rather than react to tragedy. As he left the Hokage Tower that evening, Naruto felt the familiar presence of the divine entity that had sent him back, not physically manifested, but a subtle resonance in the fabric of reality around him. Naruto corrected. One where we dictate the terms rather than react to tragedy. As he left the Hokage Tower that evening, Naruto felt the familiar presence of the divine entity that had sent him back, not physically manifested, but a subtle resonance in the fabric of reality around him. The first major deviation, Naruto acknowledged quietly. Is this what you intended? Though no audible response came, he sensed approval in the momentary intensification of that otherworldly resonance, confirmation that his course, while altering history significantly, aligned with his cosmic mission. The pieces continued to move into position, Gaara alive and strengthened as an ally, two Akatsuki members neutralized and potentially turned, critical intelligence secured years ahead of schedule, and in the shadows, watching with increasing concern, the masked figure who called himself Tobi, Obito Uchiha, realizing for the first time that his carefully constructed plans were being systematically dismantled by the very Jinchuriki he had once dismissed as insignificant. The intelligence extracted from Sasori and Deidara provided Naruto the perfect opportunity to accelerate his timeline interventions. Most valuable was confirmation of Sasori's planned meeting with a spy embedded within Orochimaru's organization, the Tenchi Bridge encounter that had originally led to Naruto's devastating reunion with Sasuke. This time, however, Naruto approached the mission with decades of strategic planning rather than emotional impulsivity. Sasori's intelligence identifies the spy as Kabuto Yakushi, Naruto explained during the mission briefing, standing before a tactical map with confidence that surprised even veteran Jonin. He's scheduled to meet Sasori's contact at the Tenchi Bridge in 10 days. We could use this opportunity to infiltrate Orochimaru's organization, Yamato suggested, just as he had in the original timeline. Naruto smiled knowingly. Or we could use it to eliminate both Kabuto and Orochimaru in one operation. The boldness of the statement drew sharp looks from the assembled shinobi. Kakashi studied his former student with renewed interest. You sound very confident for someone proposing to take down one of the legendary Sannin. Because I know his weaknesses, Naruto replied simply. Orochimaru is currently vulnerable. The injuries Jiraiya inflicted during their last encounter disrupted his body transfer technique, forcing him to remain in a deteriorating vessel. His chakra network is compromised, and he's desperate for a solution. The level of detail, information that even Konoha's intelligence division didn't fully possess, raised eyebrows around the room. Tsunade leaned forward at her desk. And how exactly did you come by this assessment? The same way I knew about Akatsuki's move against Gaara, Naruto replied evenly. I see possibilities, connections, patterns that others miss. While not fully convinced, Tsunade had witnessed enough of Naruto's uncanny predictions to authorize the operation, with modifications. Rather than the small team of his original timeline, she assigned an expanded force, Team Kakashi, including Yamato and Sai, Team 8 for tracking, and a specialized Anbu unit for containment. Before their departure, Naruto sought out Sasuke, who had been assigned a separate mission despite his request to join the Orochimaru operation. I need you to trust me on this, Naruto told him, meeting under the cover of nightfall at their regular training ground. Your absence from this mission is deliberate. Sasuke's expression tightened with frustration. Orochimaru has answers about Itachi that I need. I know, Naruto acknowledged. But confronting him now would complicate things in ways you don't understand yet. I promise you'll get those answers soon, just not through Orochimaru. The cryptic response did little to satisfy Sasuke, but the trust they'd built since Naruto's interventions held firm. Fine, but when you return, you owe me a full explanation. You'll get more than that, Naruto promised. You'll get the truth about that night, the whole truth. As the expanded team departed for the Tenchi Bridge, Naruto implemented the next phase of his plan. Activating a network of shadow clones he'd positioned months earlier around Orochimaru's primary hideouts. These clones, transformed to avoid detection, had been systematically mapping entry points, guard rotations, and, most importantly, locating Orochimaru's reach subjects. The bridge meeting is a diversion, Naruto explained to Kakashi and Yamato as they traveled. Orochimaru will almost certainly have Kabuto under surveillance. He'll know we're coming. Then why proceed with a mission that's compromised before it begins? Yamato questioned. Because we want him to think he's in control, Naruto replied, a strategy born from decades of experience rather than youthful bravado. While his attention is focused on the bridge, our secondary teams will target his main laboratory directly. The sophisticated, multi-pronged approach impressed even Kakashi, who had served in Anbu's tactical division. This goes beyond standard Chunin strategic training. Naruto offered a knowing smile. Let's just say I had good teachers. Upon reaching the rendezvous point near the Tenchi Bridge, Naruto implemented the final preparations. Team 8's sensory specialists confirmed what he already knew. Orochimaru's forces positioned to observe the bridge, with the Snake Sanin himself nearby, rather than at his main base. Perfect, Naruto murmured. He's taken the bait. The operation that unfolded bore little resemblance to the chaotic confrontation of his first lifetime. Rather than impulsively revealing themselves, Naruto's team implemented a sophisticated deception. A transformed shadow clone impersonating Sasori made contact with Kabuto, while the real strike force surrounded the area in a carefully coordinated containment formation. When Orochimaru inevitably appeared, exactly as Naruto had predicted, he found not an emotionally compromised Jinchuriki, but a precision tactical operation designed specifically to counter his abilities. My, the Snake Sanin observed with his characteristic unsettling smile. It seems the Nine-Tails boy has grown more interesting since our last encounter. More than interesting, Naruto replied calmly, stepping forward while signaling the hidden teams to maintain position. I know exactly what you're planning, Orochimaru. The experiments on Taka, the preparations at the mountain graveyard facility, your research into the first Hokage's cells, all of it. The flicker of genuine surprise that crossed Orochimaru's features confirmed Naruto had struck a nerve, mentioning research facilities and projects that should have been impossible for anyone outside his organization to know about. Fascinating, Orochimaru hissed, his casual demeanor masking heightened alertness. Perhaps I should dissect you to discover how you came by such specific information. Or perhaps, Naruto countered, you should consider that I know not just your past actions, but your future ones, including your inevitable defeat. As he spoke, Naruto activated the first stage of his six-path sage mode, not the full manifestation, but enough for his eyes to take on their characteristic cross-shaped pupils and for his sensory perception to expand dramatically. The display of power, far beyond what Orochimaru would have expected from the Jinchuriki at this stage, was calculated to create uncertainty. The battle that followed demonstrated the gulf between Naruto's apparent age and his true capabilities. When Orochimaru attacked with his signature snake techniques, Naruto countered with precision Rasen Shuriken variants that targeted the Sanin's already compromised chakra network. When Kabuto attempted medical interventions, Naruto disrupted them with sealing techniques that shouldn't have been possible for a shinobi his age. Most significantly, Naruto deliberately held back from a killing blow, a decision that confused his teammates but served his longer strategy. Instead, he systematically disabled Orochimaru's techniques while Yamato and the Ainbu team secured Kabuto. You're not trying to kill him, Kakashi observed during a momentary respite in the battle. Why? Because dead, he's just a martyr to his cause, Naruto explained, tracking Orochimaru's movements with sage-enhanced perception. Alive and contained, he's a source of intelligence and potentially a valuable research asset for the village. The maturity of the assessment, prioritizing strategic value over emotional vengeance, reflected Naruto's decades of leadership experience rather than the impulsive Jinin Kakashi remembered. As the battle concluded with Orochimaru contained within a specialized sealing barrier, weakened by his deteriorating body and Naruto's precisely targeted attacks, the second phase of the operation activated. Teams deployed to Orochimaru's main hideout reported success, research subjects freed, facilities secured, and critical data recovered. Among the rescued prisoners was Karen Uzumaki, a connection to Naruto's clan who, in the original timeline, had remained with Orochimaru far longer and subsequently joined Sasuke's Taka team. You knew where to find us, she said when Naruto visited the medical unit where the rescued prisoners were being treated. You knew exactly which cells, which security systems. Naruto nodded, sensing an opportunity to secure another valuable ally. I know more than that, Karen. I know you're an Uzumaki like me. I know about your healing abilities and sensory powers. And I know you deserve better than being Orochimaru's experiment. The recognition of her abilities and heritage, something few had acknowledged, created an immediate connection. How could you possibly know all that? The same way I know that there are other Uzumaki survivors scattered across the nations, Naruto replied. The same way I know we need to rebuild what was lost when Uzushiogakure fell. The conversation laid groundwork for another critical alliance, one that would provide access to Uzumaki's sealing techniques essential for Naruto's plans to counter the Ten Tails in the future. The most challenging conversation, however, came with Kabuto, the spy whose identity crisis had made him particularly vulnerable to Orochimaru's manipulation, and eventually led to the reanimation jutsu that powered the Fourth Great Ninja War. Unlike the conventional interrogation techniques that would have been employed, Naruto requested private audience with the medic Nin, implementing psychological insights gained through decades of leadership and conflict resolution. I know about the orphanage, Naruto began without preamble, seated across from the restrained spy. About Mother Nano and how Danzo manipulated both of you into destroying your bond. I know your search for identity led you to Orochimaru, hoping his body modification techniques would finally give you a sense of self. Kabuto's normally controlled expression faltered. How could you possibly? I know what it's like to grow up without knowing who you are, Naruto continued, his voice softening with genuine empathy. To have others define you, to wear masks for so long, you forget what's underneath. The approach, addressing the core wound that had driven Kabuto's actions rather than focusing on the actions themselves, created an opening that conventional interrogation never could have achieved. In another timeline, Naruto said carefully, you become one of the most dangerous shinobi alive, not through raw power, but through brilliance corrupted by desperation. You revive the dead to fight a war that devastates the Five Nations, all because you never found the answer to one question: who is Kabuto Yakushi? The specificity of the statement, delivered with absolute certainty, broke through Kabuto's remaining defenses. You're speaking as if you've seen this future. I have, Naruto acknowledged simply, and I'm here to offer a different path. By the time the teams returned to Konoha with their prisoners and rescued subjects, Naruto had laid groundwork for Kabuto's eventual rehabilitation, not through conventional means, but through addressing the identity crisis at the core of his vulnerability to manipulation. The debriefing with Tsunade and the council revealed the full scope of their success. Orochimaru contained and his experimentation network dismantled, dozens of test subjects rescued and returned to their villages, and critical intelligence about both Akatsuki and Orochimaru's operations secured. This went well beyond the parameters of the original mission, Tsunade observed, reviewing the extensive operation reports, almost as if it had been planned in advance. Sometimes opportunities present themselves, Naruto replied carefully, and sometimes, Jiraiya added, studying his godson with increasing awareness, those opportunities are created by people who see further ahead than others. As the meeting concluded, Tsunade held Naruto back for a private conversation. These visions of yours, she began directly. They're becoming increasingly specific and accurate. At what point do I need to be concerned about how you're obtaining this information? Naruto considered his response carefully. Tsunade had been one of his closest advisors and friends in his original timeline, someone who might eventually be brought into his confidence more fully. I'm on Konoha's side, he assured her. Everything I've done, everything I know, is in service of protecting this village and preventing catastrophes that would destroy everything we care about. That doesn't actually answer my question, she noted shrewdly. Naruto smiled. Let's just say that some knowledge comes at great personal cost, but sharing the burden of that knowledge too widely could create more problems than it solves. The cryptic response didn't satisfy her completely, but she recognized the sincerity behind it. Just remember, Naruto, even you can't carry the future alone. When you're ready to share that burden more fully, my door is open. The success of the Tenchi Bridge operation accelerated Naruto's timeline interventions dramatically. With Orochimaru neutralized years ahead of schedule, Sasuke's potential defection path completely eliminated, and key figures like Kabuto and Karin secured as allies rather than enemies, the dominoes continued to fall in new patterns. That night, Naruto fulfilled his promise to Sasuke, meeting at their training ground with a scroll containing information that would change everything for the last loyal Uchiha. The complete truth about the Uchiha massacre, Itachi's sacrifice, and Danzo's manipulation. How did you get this information? Sasuke demanded, hands trembling as he reviewed documents that should have been impossible to obtain. Anbu mission records, route operational directives, transcripts of closed council meetings. The same way I knew about Orochimaru's hideouts, Naruto replied quietly. The same way I've known about many things that were supposed to remain hidden. The question is, what will you do with this truth? Sasuke's expression shifted through rage, disbelief, and finally a cold determination that Naruto recognized from both timelines. Danzo needs to answer for this. He will, Naruto promised, but not through assassination or vengeance. Through justice and systematic reform. The mistakes of the past exposed to prevent their repetition. As Sasuke struggled with emotions that threatened to overwhelm him, Naruto placed a hand on his shoulder, a gesture of support between brothers rather than merely teammates. In another life, Naruto said softly, this truth came too late after you traveled too far down a path of darkness to turn back. This time, we face it together, and we change the system that made it possible. The conversation marked another critical divergence from the original timeline. Sasuke receiving the truth about Itachi years earlier, with support systems in place and a path toward justice that didn't require abandoning everything he cared about. As the Tenchi Bridge mission rippled outward, affecting multiple future events, Naruto sensed the divine presence briefly intensifying. Approval of this major deviation that had potentially saved thousands of lives by preventing both Orochimaru's future experiments and the reanimation jutsu that had powered the Fourth Great Ninja War. The chess pieces continued to move, the timeline shifting further from its original course. And somewhere in the shadows, observing with growing concern, Obito Uchiha realized that his plans were being systematically dismantled by a Jinchuriki who somehow knew far too much about things that should have been impossible for him to discover. The systematic dismantling of Akatsuki became Naruto's next strategic priority. With Sasori and Deidara neutralized and Orochimaru contained, he turned his attention to the remaining members, particularly the immortal duo of Hidan and Kakuzu, whose rampage had claimed Asuma's life in the original timeline. Unlike his reactive approach in his first life, Naruto implemented a proactive strategy based on perfect intelligence. Shadow clones transformed into wildlife had been tracking Akatsuki movements for months, providing real-time updates on their positions and activities. They're targeting the Two-Tails Jinchuriki, Yugito Ni, in the Land of Lightning. Naruto reported during a classified briefing with Tsunade and selected Jonin. Based on their movement patterns, they'll intercept her near the Frost Country border in approximately 5 days. And you're suggesting we intercept them first? Shikaku Nara observed, studying the tactical map Naruto had prepared. A preemptive strike rather than waiting for them to enter Fire Country. Exactly, Naruto confirmed. We have a critical advantage. They don't know we're tracking them. If we position our forces correctly, we can not only prevent the Two-Tails capture, but eliminate 2 more Akatsuki members. The level of strategic planning impressed even veteran tacticians like Shikaku. The operation Naruto proposed included detailed contingencies for Hidan's immortality, Kakuzu's 5 hearts, and extraction plans that accounted for their unique abilities. This goes beyond standard intelligence gathering, Shikaku noted, echoing observations that were becoming increasingly common among Konoha's leadership. Your assessment of their abilities is remarkably specific. Naruto maintained his practiced cover. Jiraiya Sensei's network is extensive, and the intelligence from Sasori has filled many gaps in our understanding. While not fully convinced, the tactical soundness of the plan won approval. A specialized strike team was assembled. Naruto, Shikamaru, Kakashi, and Asuma. The same core group that had faced the immortal duo in the original timeline, but now with perfect foreknowledge and extensive preparation rather than responding to tragedy. Before their departure, Naruto sought out Shikamaru for a private conversation. Their friendship had deepened significantly since Naruto's return, with the Nara heir being one of the few who seemed to intuitively sense the changes in Naruto went beyond mere training. This mission is personal for you, Shikamaru observed as they reviewed the tactical approach. Even more than usual. Naruto nodded, allowing a glimpse of his true emotions to surface. In another possibility I've seen, Asuma dies at Hidan's hands, The aftermath changes you fundamentally, makes you both stronger and harder. I'd prefer you gain the strength without experiencing that particular loss. Shikamaru studied him with characteristic intensity. These possibilities you keep referencing, they're more than hypotheticals, aren't they? You speak of them with the certainty of memory, not prediction. The observation came dangerously close to the truth, demonstrating why Shikamaru had been his closest advisor as Hokage. Naruto chose his response carefully. Let's just say that some futures feel more real than others, more detailed, more certain, and the one where we lose Asuma is one I'm determined to prevent. The answer wasn't quite a confirmation, but provided enough for Shikamaru's brilliant mind to work with. Troublesome, he muttered, his standard response masking deeper thoughts. Just remember that changing one outcome inevitably affects others. The shogi board never remains static after a piece moves. Trust me, Naruto replied with the weight of decades behind his words. I'm very aware of the ripple effects. The interception operation proceeded with precision that would have been impossible without Naruto's foreknowledge. Positioned along Yugito's expected route days before the Akatsuki arrived, the Konoha team established a layered ambush incorporating specializations perfectly countering their target's abilities. When Hidan and Kakuzu appeared, tracking the Two-Tails Jinchuriki, they found not an unsuspecting victim, but a carefully orchestrated trap. Shikamaru's shadows, enhanced by specialized ceiling tags Naruto had prepared, immobilized Hidan before he could complete his ritual circle. Kakashi and Asuma, briefed extensively on Kakuzu's heart locations and abilities, coordinated lightning-based attacks targeting his vital points with surgical precision. Most significantly, Naruto demonstrated capabilities that shocked even his teammates, a perfect Sage Mode transformation that he had supposedly just mastered, allowing him to track and systematically destroy each of Kakuzu's hearts while avoiding the fatal openings that had nearly claimed lives in the original encounter. Since when can you do that? Asuma asked, watching Naruto disperse his Sage Mode after confirming all 5 of Kakuzu's hearts had been neutralized. Recent development, Naruto replied with practiced casualness. The toads at Mount Myoboku helped me unlock it during my training. The half-truth satisfied immediate questions while maintaining his cover. In reality, Naruto had carefully calibrated his power display, showing enough to accomplish the mission efficiently while not revealing capabilities that would raise unanswerable questions. Unlike the original timeline where Hidan had been buried in pieces by a vengeful Shikamaru, Naruto implemented a different approach to the immortal zealot. With Kakuzu neutralized and Hidan securely contained in specialized seals, he requested a private conversation with the Jashin worshipper. Your god is a fraud, Naruto stated bluntly once they were alone, his eyes reflecting knowledge no 16-year-old should possess. Jashin isn't divine. It's a parasitic entity that feeds on death energy. Your immortality isn't a blessing, but a modified curse mark similar to Orochimaru's techniques. Hidan's typical profanity-laden retorts faltered at the specificity of the statement. How could you possibly know about the nature of Jashin? The sacred texts are only accessible to the highest priests. Because I've seen entities far more powerful than Jashin, Naruto replied, allowing a fraction of his 6 paths energy to manifest, golden chakra illuminating his features. I've witnessed true divinity, and it has nothing to do with endless slaughter and everything to do with balance and protection. The theological challenge, delivered with absolute certainty and backed by tangible power, created the first crack in Hidan's fanatical devotion. Unlike conventional interrogation techniques that would have reinforced his martyrdom complex, Naruto's approach targeted the foundational beliefs that motivated his actions. Your immortality can be broken, Naruto continued, sharing knowledge from decades beyond their current time. But it can also be repurposed. The question is whether you're devoted to Jashin itself or merely to the concept of transcending death. The conversation planted seeds that would take months to fully develop, but established another potential conversion rather than merely eliminating an enemy, a pattern becoming characteristic of Naruto's approach to former adversaries. Upon their return to Konoha, with both Akatsuki members contained rather than destroyed, Naruto implemented the next phase of his strategic plan, a coordinated information exchange with other villages affected by Akatsuki. We should share specific intelligence about Akatsuki's abilities and movements with Kumo, he suggested during the mission debriefing. The attempt on their Jinchuriki creates a diplomatic opportunity to strengthen inter-village cooperation against a common threat. The proposal, reflecting Naruto's experience as Hokage rather than his apparent age and rank, initially met resistance from security traditionalists on the council. However, Tsunade, increasingly trusting Naruto's judgment, approved a modified version of the plan. We'll send a diplomatic delegation to Kumo with selected intelligence, she decided. Not everything we know, but enough to demonstrate good faith and encourage reciprocal sharing. The diplomatic mission that followed, led by Kakashi with Naruto, coincidentally assigned as support, established the first tentative information sharing protocols between villages that had historically operated in isolation, laying groundwork for the alliance that would eventually become essential in facing greater threats. The real purpose of Naruto's inclusion became apparent when they met with the Raikage and his brother Killer Bee, the Eight Tails Jinchuriki, who had become one of Naruto's closest allies in the original timeline. "You feel different from other Jinchuriki," Bee observed during their first private conversation, away from the formal diplomatic meetings. "Like you and your tailed beast are already in harmony, yeah." Naruto smiled, dropping his practiced facade slightly in the presence of a fellow perfect Jinchuriki. "Kurama and I have an understanding that goes beyond the typical host-Biju relationship." "Kurama?" Bee repeated, surprised by Naruto's use of the Nine-Tails' true name. "You're on a first-name basis with the fox? That's some serious progress, no doubt." "More than you know," Naruto replied, before deliberately activating his chakra cloak, a golden manifestation far more advanced than Bee would have expected from a teenage Jinchuriki. "And I think it's time we discuss the real threat behind Akatsuki, information your brother needs to hear." The revelation of Obito's manipulation of Akatsuki, Madara's ultimate plan for the Ten Tails, and the threat that extended beyond even the legendary Uchiha created a paradigm shift in Kumo's understanding of the conflict, elevating it from a series of criminal activities to an existential threat requiring unprecedented cooperation. "How could you possibly know all this?" the Raikage demanded during the subsequent classified briefing, skepticism warring with the undeniable specificity of Naruto's intelligence. "The same way I knew exactly when and where Hidan and Kakuzu would attempt to capture Yugito," Naruto replied evenly. "The same way I know that isolationism between the five great nations is exactly what our common enemy is counting on." The diplomatic mission concluded with a preliminary alliance framework, modest by the standards of Naruto's original timeline, but revolutionary in a world where villages had operated in isolation for generations. Most importantly, it established direct communication channels between Jinchuriki across village boundaries, connections that would prove crucial in the coordinated defense Naruto was systematically building. Upon their return to Konoha, Naruto faced increasing questions about his knowledge and abilities, questions he navigated with careful partial truths while maintaining focus on the next critical interventions. 4 Akatsuki members neutralized, Orochimaru contained, and preliminary alliance frameworks established with Suna and Kumo, Jiraiya summarized during a private meeting in Tsunade's office. "All within months of your return, and all following strategies you either suggested or directly implemented." "We're making progress," Naruto acknowledged, "but the greatest threats remain. The masked man calling himself Tobi, actually Obito Uchiha, is far more dangerous than the Akatsuki members we've faced so far. And behind him stands Madara, using both as pawns in a game spanning generations."
I hope you guys like the video. Please make sure to leave a like and subscribe my channel. Till then, take care.